Chapter 2028. The Heaven-Devouring Empire had sent out 3 super experts. They were Realm Lord Butian, Territory Ancestor Hongqi, and Territory Ancestor Jiang Chong. Realm Lord Butian was once famous. For some unknown reason, Butian chose to submit to the Heaven-Devouring Empire and became an elder of the empire. No one had expected the Heaven-Devouring Empire to send out Butian. Longao was unlucky. Universe Plane, Universe Sect, Universe Palace. Seeing Realm Lord Butian, Old Black, Old White, Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth, and Feng Xia immediately bowed respectfully. "Greetings, Lord." His face was indifferent as he waved his hand. "What's going on?" Old Black was afraid that Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth would spout nonsense, so he recounted everything that had happened. "If you can't save the third prince, all of you will die." They weren't surprised at all. This was because everyone had already guessed that if anything were to happen to the third prince, they would most likely be in grave danger. They could only pray that Longao wouldn't kill the third prince. "Spread the news that I want to talk to Longao." "Talk?" "I don't know if Butian's brain is flooded with water or not. Since you have personally come, will Longao dare to show himself?" As though he could read their minds, Butian said, "Spread the news. Say that I swear on my honor that I won't touch a hair on his head." No one doubted the words of the Universe Realm Lord. Reputation was the most important thing to the Universe Realm Lord. A few minutes later, the news spread from the Universe Plane. Longao received the news instantly. After all, news traveled extremely fast in the vast universe. "Brother Long, don't tell me you're really going to the Universe Plane?" Iji Mei knew Longao too well. If it was someone else, they wouldn't take the risk. Although Realm Lord Butian had promised that he wouldn't do anything, no one knew the outcome. If Realm Lord Butian went back on his words, what would Longao do? It was better to be safe than sorry. No one could guarantee that Realm Lord Butian would keep his promise. Would Longao agree? With a smile, Longao said, "I want to take a look. My intuition tells me that this Realm Lord Butian shouldn't be someone who goes back on his words." Emerald Plum knew Longao's personality very well. Once he had decided on something, it was almost impossible to change his mind. "Brother Long, I'll accompany you." Longao shook his head. "Iji Mei, you stay here, I'll go alone." Without giving Ji Mei a chance to speak, Longao turned around and left. Not long after, he disappeared without a trace. Universe Plane. Seeing that Longao had really come, many people were still shocked even though they had already guessed it. He couldn't help but admire Longao's courage. Normal people wouldn't be able to do that. "You're Longao?" "Yes, you are Butian? How dare you not kneel before my lord?" Hearing Longao call his name, Ancestor of Heaven and Earth seemed to want to flatter him and directly roared. Longao sneered. With a look of indifference, he found a seat on the left and said, "He's your my lord, not mine. Furthermore, what right do you have to make me kneel? You're just a loser." Although Longao's strength wasn't enough to defeat Ancestor of Heaven and Earth, after a series of events, Ancestor of Heaven and Earth had already lost. He couldn't even protect Feng Qing. To Heaven and Earth sect, this was a great humiliation. Just as Ancestor of Heaven and Earth was about to attack, Butian suddenly snorted and said coldly, "Don't be so shameless. If you continue to dawdle, I'll kill you." Ancestor of Heaven and Earth was shocked. Ancestor of Heaven and Earth knew that as long as Butian wanted to, he could kill him at any time. Moreover, no one dared to stand out and say anything. Ancestor of Heaven and Earth stood aside obediently, not daring to say anything. As for Feng Xia, she sneered in her heart. Once her master was reborn, Butian would be a joke. Even among the Universal World Lords, there were differences in strength. As for Butian, he was considered average among the Universal World Lords. "Longao, as long as you release the third prince, we'll forget about our grudges. As for the grudges between you and Heaven and Earth sect, my heaven-devouring empire will not interfere. How about it? Ancestor of heaven and earth laughed bitterly. For the sake of the third prince, heaven-devouring empire was willing to give up heaven and earth sect. This was the tragedy of being weak. If heaven-devouring empire wanted you, they could take you. If they didn't, you couldn't even fart. Ancestor Qiankuan could even assert that as Longao said that he would release the third prince Shenfeng if he destroyed the Qiankuan sect, he believed that Butian would not hesitate. After all, in the eyes of heaven-devouring empire and Butian, heaven and earth sect was nothing compared to the third prince. They would definitely choose the third prince over heaven and earth sect. Would Longao do the same? Ancestor of heaven and earth was worried and nervous. He was afraid that Longao would do the same. If that was the case, heaven and earth sect would really be destroyed. How would he answer to the ancestors of the sect then? However, the sect ended up dying in his hands. Now that he thought about it, why did he have to provoke Longao in the first place? But who would have thought that a mere grade 8 starry sky cultivator would turn out to be so heaven-defying and difficult to deal with? I can't accept it, I can't accept it. Hearing the rejection, Butian's face turned gloomy. He said, Longao, so what if you control the third prince? You still have room for negotiation. As long as you release the third prince, the empire will let bygones be bygones. But in the future, you will be in big trouble. Why bother? Butian was a good person. If it was another universal realm lord, would he do the same? However, the main reason why Butian was acting like this was because he admired Longao. After all, there were very few people who dared to offend the heaven and earth sect and control the third prince to fight against the heaven-devouring empire. Moreover, Longao was only a starry sky cultivator and hadn't even broken through to the starry sky domain lord realm. If it was possible, he would spare Longao's life, because he could predict that Longao would become the territory ancestor of the starry sky in less than 100 years. Whether he could break through to the starry sky boundary lord or not, it would depend on his luck. However, he was sure that once Longao's cultivation base reached the starry sky boundary lord, his competence would surpass his. His heart was moved and he loved talent. Butian, I only have one condition. Destroy heaven and earth sect and kill Feng Xia, an ancestor of heaven and earth. Then, I will return the third prince. Infuriated. It was true that what one was afraid of came true. Longao's unreasonable request shocked Feng Xia, an ancestor of heaven and earth. If Butian really attacked, who in heaven and earth sect would be able to stop him? Author's note: the first chapter is here. Chapter 2029. What would Butian choose? Back in the Seven Worlds, Senior Black and Senior White had betrayed heaven and earth sect for the third prince. If Butian made the same choice as them, heaven and earth sect would be in big trouble. He shook his head. Heaven and earth ancestor let out a sigh of relief before Butian spoke. He had heard that Butian was different from other universe sector lords. He was a good man. Now, it seemed like it was true. If it were other universe sector lords, they would have agreed to destroy heaven and earth sect to save the third prince. You don't want to? Longao, if I choose to destroy heaven and earth sect, will you look down on me? Hearing Butian's explanation, Longao was a little surprised. Just like what Butian had said, if he really did that, Longao would really look down on him. A person who would do anything to save the third prince was trash. He looked down on Senior Black and Senior White. You're really different. Longao, tell me your condition. What should he say? After all, the third prince had died and he had been refined into a corpse slave. If Butian knew about this, would he still be sitting here talking to him? At this moment, the news of the third prince's death couldn't be leaked. He stood up. We'll talk about this later. I have something to do now. Goodbye. Longao, you. Waving his hand, Butian stopped his subordinate and said, Go ahead. Looking at Longao's disappearing figure, Territory Ancestor Jiang Chong was confused and asked, "Sir, if we let Longao go like this, we'll be in trouble if the Empire blames us." No one understood why Butian was so polite to Longao. With Butian's power, it was easy for him to kill Longao. Even if he didn't kill him, he could force Longao to hand over the third prince. But the result? He watched as Longao left, but he did not do anything. This kid isn't simple. Even I don't have full confidence to keep him here. Ah, was it true? No one believed Butian's words. The strength of the Starry Sky Boundary Lord was there for all to see. Even if Longao had 3 heads and 6 arms, he still wouldn't be able to contend against the Starry Sky Boundary Lord. In everyone's eyes, this was just Butian's side of the story. In fact, what Butian said was true. He really did admire Longao, but for the sake of the third prince, he was willing to make a move. However, for some reason, he had a feeling that even if he made a move, he might not be able to keep this person here. Not to mention the others, even he found it hard to believe. This kid wasn't simple. Butian was curious about Longao's identity. He would rather die than believe that someone like Longao had no backing. However, among the tens of thousands of world surfaces, no sect would dare to offend the heaven-devouring empire. Could it be that this person was not from the tens of thousands of realms, but from another empire? If that was the case, things would be very troublesome. Investigate this person's identity. Sir, we've already checked, but there's no information at all. Huh? Butian became more and more curious. If this person was really from the tens of thousands of realms, he would definitely be able to find out. However, there was only one reason why this person couldn't be from the tens of thousands of realms. Sir, you're saying that Longao is from another empire? It's possible. Everyone was shocked when they heard Butian's words. They knew very well what it meant if Longao was from another empire. Longao wasn't simple, which meant that the force behind Longao wasn't simple. Could it be that Longao was a prince or a high-ranking official of another empire? In the vast starry sky there were countless empires. Without a doubt, every empire was an incomparably powerful existence because even the weakest empire controlled thousands or even tens of thousands of world surfaces. Under normal circumstances, the empires wouldn't go to war with each other. The reason was simple. Once the empires of Starry Sky started a war, it would cause great damage to the Starry Sky. At that time, the number of Starry Sky cultivators that would fall wouldn't be in the tens of thousands, but endless. No one was willing to get involved in this matter, especially the empires of Starry Sky. Investigate thoroughly. As long as this person exists, we will definitely be able to find out. Everyone also knew the seriousness of the matter, and didn't dare to have the slightest neglect, and immediately left to investigate Longao's identity. If Longao was really someone from another empire, and he was also very important, then this matter was very likely to affect the war between the two Starry Sky Empire. If that was the case, even Butian couldn't make the decision. He would have to report to the Heaven-Devouring Empire, and let the Emperor of the Heaven-Devouring Empire make the decision. Currently, the Heaven and Earth sect was no longer under the control of Ancestor Heaven and Earth. Everything was under Butian's control. This time, not only was there a Starry Sky Boundary Lord, but there were also 4 territory ancestors of Starry Sky. Such a force was enough to destroy a world. How could a small Heaven and Earth sect dare to resist? Everyone began to investigate Longao's identity madly. They weren't willing to let go of even the slightest clue. There were tens of thousands of worlds, so it was impossible to investigate. However, everyone was worried about their own thoughts. Even though they knew it was a difficult task, they still braced themselves and began to investigate. After leaving the Heaven and Earth plane, Longao heaved a sigh of relief. Although Butian seemed like a good person, no one knew if Butian would really take action. After all, he had captured the third prince. It was impossible for him to not know that the third prince had died. Otherwise, there was no doubt that Butian would take action. Otherwise, how would he explain this matter to the heaven-devouring empire? Therefore, the matter of the third prince's death couldn't be leaked out for the time being. Longao naturally knew that the Heaven and Earth sect was investigating his identity. How could he not know the intentions of Butian and the others? However, he sneered. He came from the Heaven Martial Plane. Now that the Heaven Martial continent had been sealed by the divine mathematician, even the starry sky boundary lord wouldn't be able to find the Heaven Martial continent. In that case, not to mention the Heaven and Earth sect, even the entire heaven-devouring empire wouldn't be able to find his identity. Longao didn't continue to deal with the Heaven and Earth sect for the time being. His intention was simple. He wanted Butian to continue investigating his identity. The more they couldn't find anything, the more worried they would be about him coming from another empire. This way, the more Butian and the others feared him, the better it would be for him. Both sides had their own ulterior motives. In the blink of an eye, 10 days passed. Just as Longao had guessed, Butian and the others didn't find anything. Author's note: the second chapter is here. Chapter 2030. It was depressing. Longao's identity was like a bottomless abyss. No matter how hard they tried, they couldn't find any clues. There was nothing he could do. Realm Lord Butian directly requested the Empire to start investigating Longao's identity. With the strength of the heaven-devouring Empire, it was easy for them to cover tens of thousands of worlds. But the result? They still couldn't find Longao's identity. At this point, everyone could finally confirm that Longao didn't belong to the heaven-devouring Empire. He came from another empire. So arrogant and mysterious. Longao's identity wasn't simple. Butian and the others were so depressed that they were afraid. Such a monster had appeared out of nowhere. After a short discussion, Butian decided not to kill Longao. He only wanted to save the third prince. The impact of the war between the Universal Star Empires was too great. Unless it was a last resort, no one wanted to start a war between the Universal Star Empires. Until now, Butian and the others still didn't know that the third prince had died. In a mid-grade plane, Longao looked at the black iron fragment in his hand. He seemed to be lost in thought. "Brother Long, this is just a fragment. Is it a treasure?" Spray of Plum Blossom was curious. He didn't know why Longao treated this black iron fragment like a treasure. In the entire Universal Star Market, this was probably the most worthless item. Yet, he spent 5 Universal God Sparks to get it. Was it worth it? In Spray of Plum Blossom's opinion, it wasn't. However, Longao nodded and said with a smile, "Spray of Plum Blossom, I can sense something different from the black iron fragment. If I'm not wrong, this black iron fragment should be." Longao didn't know how to describe it. His intuition told him that this black iron fragment wasn't simple. Before Spray of Plum Blossom could speak, Longao released his primordial spirit and slowly entered the black iron fragment. There was a loud boom. Longao's face turned pale. If he didn't retreat in time, his primordial spirit would have been destroyed. "Brother Long, what's wrong?" "Nothing, there's a backlash from the black iron fragment." Backlash from the primordial spirit? As a level 9 cultivator, Spray of Plum Blossom knew what this meant. It seemed like there was something wrong with the black iron fragment. "Brother Long, you still want to try?" He was a little dumbfounded. Longao's primordial spirit was almost devoured in less than a minute. Longao was ready to try again. If his primordial spirit was devoured, the consequences would be unimaginable. Longao knew what Eiji Plum was worried about. He smiled and said, "It's okay. I was careless just now. I will be more careful this time." This time, the primordial spirit that Longao released entered the black metal fragment bit by bit and entered it through the surroundings. As long as the power backfired on his primordial spirit, he would immediately withdraw it. Longao was confident that the power within the black metal fragment was unable to destroy his essence soul. The surprise on his face grew bigger and bigger. It was a huge dark space. It was boundless, and one could not see the end of it. Inside the black iron fragment there seemed to be a small starry sky. It was really shocking. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it. A giant that was several hundred meters tall stood in the middle of the dark space. He was startled. Who was this person? Indestructible tyrant body? At this moment, 3 words suddenly appeared in Longao's mind. It was the immortal tyrant body. At first, Longao didn't think much of it. But suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something and his face was full of disbelief. Seeing Longao's expression change again and again, Iji Plum became more and more curious. He had already guessed that Longao was basically fine. He must have encountered something because the expression on Longao's face told him everything. The beautiful tyrant body turned out to be the immortal tyrant body. There were a total of 12 starry sky rulers in the vast starry sky. The 5 elements starry sky rulers, the devouring starry sky rulers, the thunder starry sky rulers, the space starry sky rulers, the time starry sky rulers, the destruction starry sky rulers, the reincarnation starry sky rulers, the immortal tyrant body starry sky rulers, and the darkness starry sky rulers. The immortal tyrant body was one of the 12 starry sky rulers. It was known as the starry sky ruler with the strongest defense. Longao never expected that the immortal tyrant body would appear in the black metal fragment. No. Longao knew very well that the immortal tyrant body had fallen. Then, the giant in the distance shouldn't be the immortal tyrant body. Could it be the remnant consciousness of the essence soul? We meet again. Looking at the indestructible tyrant body starry sky ruler, Longao was completely stunned. He had seen this person before, but he had never thought that this person would be the legendary indestructible tyrant body starry sky ruler. Was this real? Senior you. He didn't know what to say. It turned out that the black-clothed giant was none other than the old man who sold the black iron fragment to Longao. He was an arrogant old man who thought that his item was the best. If Iji Plum was here, he might have been scared out of his wit. Don't be nervous. My original body has fallen. What you saw before and now are my remnant consciousness of the essence soul. After countless years and countless reincarnations, I still can't find it. Alas, there's not much time left. A sigh came, which made Longao very curious. He didn't know what the immortal tyrant body was looking for. With his strength and identity, it was not a problem for him to command the starry sky. What did he want? Did he need to find it himself? Longao didn't ask because in this case it was useless to ask. If the other party wanted to tell him, even if he didn't ask, he believed that the other party would tell him. If the other party didn't want to tell him, then even if he asked, it would be useless. Longao, would you like to do me a favor? Senior, please tell me. As long as it's within my power, I will help you. Longao could feel that the immortal tyrant body didn't have the slightest malice towards him. He was very willing to make friends. You leave first. I will find you later. Senior, please. Longao slowly left the black iron fragment. In the dark space, the black-clothed giant sighed deeply and said helplessly, I hope I can find it this time. Otherwise, alas. After withdrawing from the black iron fragment, Longao was still in a daze. He did not expect that the immortal tyrant body starry sky ruler, one of the 12 starry sky rulers, would have his primordial spirit remnant consciousness in the black iron fragment. Brother Long, what happened? Iji Plum asked with concern. Longao didn't want to tell Iji Plum. After all, this matter could be serious. If it was leaked, the consequences would be unimaginable. After all, the remnant consciousness of the immortal tyrant body was something that even the heaven-devouring empire couldn't resist. let alone ordinary cultivators. Author's note: Chapter 3 is here. Chapter 2031. Nothing much, just that the black iron fragment is a little weird. Seeing that Longao was unwilling to say more, Ji-mei didn't probe further. Brother Long, what are you planning to do next? Qianquan sect and heaven-devouring empire weren't doing anything, but that didn't mean that they had given up. What should he do? After dozens of days of investigation, even heaven-devouring empire couldn't find out Longao's identity. Just like that, Butian could almost affirm that Longao came from another plane of another empire. If it was really as he had guessed, then the matter would be very troublesome. Was it worth it to start a war with another empire for a prince? To Butian, it wasn't worth it. But to heaven-devouring empire, if they didn't handle this matter well, others would think that they were afraid of the other empires. And the main culprit was Qianquan sect. Butian had a rough idea of what had happened. It was impossible to say that he wasn't angry at all. If Fang Xia hadn't dealt with Longao first, no one knew if Longao would have done anything to the third prince. They couldn't do anything right. But Butian didn't blame Qianquan sect. The reason was simple. If he blamed Qianquan sect now, others would say that they didn't dare to deal with Longao and only dared to punish their own people. If that happened, both heaven-devouring empire and Butian would lose face. One could say that. To Butian, this was all Qianquan sect's fault. They were the ones who brought this upon themselves. What should he do? At this moment, Butian couldn't make up his mind because at this time, he couldn't act recklessly. Otherwise, if he was driven to desperation, even if Longao killed the third prince, it wouldn't be an impossible matter. No matter what, with the third prince's status, nothing could happen to him. Although Butian was very clear that even if something happened to the third prince because of his mistake, he believed that the empire wouldn't punish him for a prince. But what about his face? The empire sent him here to ensure that nothing went wrong. Thinking about this, Butian wanted to settle this peacefully, so he invited Longao to the Qianquan realm as a guest. Longao was not worried at all because he knew that as long as the third prince was in his hands, the other party would not dare to act rashly. Since Butian's arrival, this was the second time Longao had stepped into the universe plane. Life was unpredictable. Cosmic sect. Longao, please. Butian, please. The two of them sat down as if nothing had happened. However, both of them had their own ulterior motives, especially Longao, who did not dare to relax in the slightest. Longao, you and I are both straightforward people, so I'll get straight to the point. Longao didn't say anything, but he sneered in his heart. Of course, he knew what Butian wanted to say. This matter started because of the Qianquan sect. Originally, it had nothing to do with the third prince. The third prince was too rash. I apologize on his behalf. Butian apologized? On the surface, Butian was apologizing on behalf of the third prince, but in reality, he was apologizing on behalf of the heaven-devouring empire to Longao. What was going on? Such a thing had never happened before. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, no one would have believed it. However, no one dared to say anything, especially those from the cosmic sect. Even though they knew that it was embarrassing, this was the only way to protect the third prince. At this moment, no one could be sure that Longao wouldn't act. A lunatic who dared to go against the cosmic sect and the heaven-devouring empire alone, wouldn't he do something stupid? It was better to be safe than sorry. If Longao acted against the third prince, Butian alone wouldn't be able to answer to the heaven-devouring empire. The people behind him sighed deeply. For Longao to be able to force a starry sky realm lord to such an extent, it could be considered unprecedented. Longao, what do you think? I accept your apology, but I don't know what you want. Despite knowing the answer, Longao pretended to be ignorant. Jiang Chong was enraged. He sneered, Longao, don't be so shameless. I should be the one saying this to you. I'm a person who gets agitated easily. If I can't control myself and do something bad, it won't be good for either of us. It was a threat, a blatant threat. However, Longao had the qualifications to threaten him. After all, Longao had the upper hand. Shut up. Seeing that Butian was angry, no one dared to say anything else. However, the anger on their faces grew. A puny grade 9 cultivator dared to behave atrociously in front of a universal realm lord and 4 universal territory ancestors. Longao was really arrogant. Longao, you're a straightforward person. If you're going to continue like this, then it's meaningless. Butian was a little unhappy. In order to save the third prince, he chose to apologize personally. However, Longao pretended to be ignorant. Butian, I understand what you mean. I'll tell you the truth. I have no intention of becoming enemies with the heaven-devouring empire. It's just that the heaven and earth sect is too despicable. They've tried to kill me time and time again. I'm just defending myself. If I didn't fight back, I would be the one to die. Butian nodded in agreement. He already understood the situation. When he thought of this, Butian couldn't help but want to destroy the universal sect. Why did they have to provoke this madman? It was fine if they provoked him. After all, they could kill Longao without leaving any trouble. However, not only did they fail to deal with him, they even lost Fong Qing and captured the third prince. Butian, there's no problem in letting the third prince go. I just need you to swear a blood oath that you won't do anything to me and won't interfere in the grudge between me and the universal sect. If you agree, I'll let the third prince go. Otherwise, even if I have to risk my life, I'll make sure you guys don't have to worry about anything. Butian didn't like this feeling. It was obvious that he was being threatened by the other party. If he agreed, there would be peace. If he didn't agree, there would be a complete falling out. However, could he refuse? Dealing with Longao was very simple. If he forced Longao into a corner, what would he do if he dealt with the third prince? He believed that because of this, Longao was certain that he would not dare to make a move. That was why he came here without fear. Otherwise, would Longao dare to come alone and boast so shamelessly? No problem. Ancestor Qian Kun and Fong Xia's faces changed when they heard Butian agree. This was Butian, this was the heaven-devouring empire. He didn't care about the life and death of the universal sect. The two cursed in their hearts, but they didn't dare to say anything. Butian had already made up his mind to kill them. If they provoked him now, who knew what would happen? Chapter 2032. Please. Butian's expression changed again and again. In the end, he had no choice but to make a blood oath in order to save the third prince. The moment he made the blood oath, the third prince appeared. Longao, there's something wrong with the third prince. Are you? Without waiting for Butian to finish speaking, Longao already said, if I don't give Shenfeng any punishment, then I'm too easy to bully. All right. Longao stood up to leave. But just then, old ancestor Heaven and Earth stood in front of Longao. Butian, what's the meaning of this? Longao, I promised you that I wouldn't interfere in your feud with Heaven and Earth sect. But I didn't promise you that I would interfere with Heaven and Earth sect. What do you think? In the next second, Longao disappeared from where he was. This again? Old ancestor Heaven and Earth cursed in his heart. He knew that the other party would do this, but he still miscalculated. At the end of the day, old ancestor Heaven and Earth trusted Butian too much. Without bothering about Longao, the third prince returned safely. Even though there was something wrong with his mind, it wasn't a problem for the heaven-devouring empire. Just as Butian was about to leave, Fong Xia suddenly said, Sir, there's something fishy. What's wrong? He was curious. Even Butian couldn't see anything wrong with the third prince. But Fong Xia's face was grim. Was there really something fishy? My lord, previously, Longao possessed an army that was refined from his primordial spirit. I have already inquired about this matter. In the vast starry sky there is such a secret skill. The cultivator has already fallen, but with the help of some secret skill, he can be refined into a puppet. Butian was not an idiot. Of course, he knew what Feng Xia meant. If this was the case, then even if the third prince returned smoothly, it was no different from dying. Had he been duped? Butian started to check the third prince's body carefully. Indeed, the third prince's yuan spirit had dissipated. He was just a puppet. If not for Feng Xia's reminder, he wouldn't have thought of it. However, he had already sworn a blood oath not to harm Longao. He seemed to be able to guess what Butian was thinking. Although he was very angry at Butian's shamelessness, he still needed to borrow Butian's strength to deal with Longao. Thinking of this, Feng Xia said, "Sir, although you swore a blood oath, you didn't say that if Longao lied to you, you couldn't do anything. The result is obvious. Even if you did, I believe it wouldn't be considered a violation of the oath." Feng Xia was right. Longao simply didn't think about this because in his eyes, Butian wouldn't be able to see through the clues like this. He still had time to prepare. "Longao, you asked for it." Butian was truly angry. In the beginning, he quite admired Longao. As long as it was allowed, he would not kill Longao. However, Butian also had his own bottom line. Now, Longao had already touched his bottom line. If he continued to endure like this, where would his face go? Inside the dragon seal space. Longao also felt a little regretful. He never thought that Feng Xia would see through the clues. If he had known, he would have sworn a blood oath to Butian that he couldn't attack him no matter what. Now, he was in big trouble. Butian obviously wanted to kill him. For Starry Sky territory ancestors were already difficult enough to deal with. Now that Butian had joined in, it would be difficult to deal with him. Miscalculation. Really miscalculation. However, it was too late to regret now. He had to think about how to deal with it. Butian immediately did what he said. However, even if the third prince was now a puppet, he didn't dare to do anything. Everything would wait until the third prince's puppet was sent back to the heaven-devouring empire. Everything would be decided by His Majesty. However, in the next second, without waiting for Butian and the others to react, the third prince's figure had already disappeared under everyone's eyes. Seeing this, Butian and the others were almost certain that Longao hadn't left at all and was still here. It was just that they couldn't locate him with the help of the spatial divine tool. "Longao, if you're still a man, come out and fight. Why do you have to be so sneaky? Butian, you're going back on your words. How dare a person like you still dilly-dally here?" Butian was a bit confused by the sudden words because he was indeed in the wrong. No matter what was said, he had already made a blood oath. As for the matter of the third prince becoming a puppet, he could only blame himself. He couldn't blame Longao. Everyone had to fight for themselves. It was either you die or I die. Longao's actions were understandable. However, how could he explain it to the Empire? A puppet was no different from a dead person. If he sent the puppet back, the Empire would definitely blame him. "Longao, come out and say it if you have the ability." "Fine, I'll come out." Longao's figure suddenly appeared and stood in front of everyone. He coldly looked at everyone and coldly said, "Butian, I originally thought that you were a gentleman. Since you've sworn a blood oath, you wouldn't continue to attack. However, it seems that you're the same as them. You're all shameless people. Since that's the case, why bother speaking so much nonsense?" Without waiting for Butian to speak, Longao continued, "Previously, the third Prince Chen Feng and Feng Xia relentlessly chased after me without stopping for even a moment. Since I have already caught Chen Feng, I will definitely cut the weeds and eliminate the root. Butian, if you were me, what would you do? Kill without mercy." Butian didn't go against his own thoughts. According to the current situation, no matter who it was, they would definitely eliminate him. Longao's actions weren't wrong, there was nothing wrong with it. However, their positions were different. Butian said, "From your point of view, you're not wrong. However, from my point of view, you've gone overboard. You're right, there's no need for me to speak nonsense. Longao, I won't kill you. Follow me back to the heaven-devouring empire, and let His Majesty deal with you. How about it?" "Follow you back to the heaven-devouring empire?" Longao almost laughed. He was certain that if he followed Butian back to the heaven-devouring empire, only death would await him. There was no chance of survival. The heaven-devouring empire was an absolute existence that spanned tens of thousands of worlds. Just the space sector lords alone numbered more than 100. Even if he had 3 heads and 6 arms, it was almost impossible for him to leave the heaven-devouring empire alive. If his cultivation base could break through to the space sector lord realm, there would be no harm in making a trip there. However, right now, Longao knew that he couldn't go. "Longao, if you're unwilling, I can only kill you and bring your corpse back to the empire." Butian wasn't willing to act. The more Longao acted like this, the more he admired him. However, if he didn't kill Longao, he wouldn't be able to answer to the Empire and His Majesty. Chapter 2033. No matter how much he appreciated Longao, things had already come to this point. If he didn't kill him, he wouldn't be able to answer to the Empire. The only way was to bring Longao's body back. Longao turned around and took a step forward. In an instant, he was 1,000 meters away. "If you can kill me, then we'll talk." Longao didn't enter the dragon seal space because the surrounding space was already disturbed. There was no need to even try. However, Longao was confident that even if he could only use teleport, Butian and the others wouldn't be able to catch him. If it didn't work, he could only use the 7-star pearl. Longao's teleport could get rid of Starry Sky cultivators below Starry Sky territory ancestor. However, it might not be able to get rid of a Starry Sky sector lord, especially Butian. Butian's speed was extremely fast. "You forced me." Longao took out the 7-star pearl. After his primordial spirit entered the 7-star pearl, the 7-star pearl emitted a dazzling light. 7 powerful star worlds smoothly came out. Before Butian could react, he was already enveloped. Star world suppression. Butian was completely stupefied because he never would have thought that Longao's body could actually release 7 strands of Star World's power. Could Longao be a Starry Sky sector lord? Impossible. That was absolutely impossible. Butian could clearly sense that Longao was only a level 9 Starry Sky cultivator. Not to mention a Starry Sky sector lord. He wasn't even a Starry Sky sector lord. How did Longao do it? In an instant. Butian had already guessed that it was a Starry Sky divine weapon. Longao must have a Starry Sky divine weapon in his body. Moreover, it was sealed with the primordial spirits of 7 Starry Sky sector lords. Otherwise, Longao wouldn't be able to do it. Primordial spirit was just a primordial spirit. Longao couldn't use all of his primordial spirit power. In this case, the 7-star world powers could only suppress Butian. It was almost impossible to kill him. However, Longao didn't think about killing Butian. He thought that this person wasn't bad and could be friends with him. It was just not yet. "Butian, I want you to remember that it's not that I can't kill you. It's just that you're a decent person. Maybe we can become friends in the future." Ha 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 ha. With a burst of laughter, Longao turned around and disappeared without a trace. Everyone behind him was dumbfounded. Was Longao that powerful? "Sir, what should we do?" "Settle the matter of the 3rd prince as soon as possible. I'll make a trip there." Everyone was very clear that Butian was going to personally make a move. The fact that the 3rd prince's puppet had been secretly transported back to the heaven-devouring empire could not be leaked. Otherwise, the heaven-devouring empire would lose all face. Butian headed east all the way because Longao's aura had never stopped. Was Longao really not afraid of death? If it was the previous Butian, he definitely would not have placed Longao in his eyes. But now, the situation was completely different. The godly weapon that Longao had on him was extremely powerful. If they were to clash head-on, Longao would choose to injure both of them, and Butian wouldn't be able to defend against it. Butian was clear that Longao definitely didn't have the strength to kill him. Otherwise, things wouldn't be so troublesome. If that was the case, there was only one explanation. Unless both of them were injured, Longao would be able to kill him. Otherwise, Longao wouldn't be a match for him. A low-leveled world, given the strength of both of them, no one would be able to detect their presence if they were to enter a low-leveled world stealthily. Even so, Longao did not stop at all. He brought Butian along and soared into the skies. It was only when they arrived at an extremely cold place that they came to a stop. "Brother Bu, please take a seat." There was a stone table and 2 stone stools. Butian did not stand on ceremony as he sat down and said, "Longao, aren't you afraid that I'll deal with you if you do this?" Butian chuckled. Longao's face was filled with indifference as he said, "I believe that Brother Bu was able to sense it earlier. As long as I choose to destroy both jade and common stone, then both of us will die. I believe that Brother Bu is not willing to see a situation where both of us suffer." "You're right. I'm very wary of you. However, Longao, you refined the third prince into a puppet. Even if I don't take revenge, the Empire won't let you off. Why do you have to do this?" Others might not know how powerful the heaven-devouring empire was, but as a member of the heaven-devouring empire, how could he not know how powerful it was? Even if Longao had a powerful godly weapon, would he be able to shake the heaven-devouring empire? That was impossible. "If you didn't refine the third prince into a puppet, I could have let you go on my own accord. Moreover, I could have settled the grudge between you and the cosmic sect. But now, Butian's conduct was really good. Longao wanted to make friends with him more and more. He was used to seeing deceit and was used to seeing despicable and shameless people. This kind of person was really rare. "Brother Bu, what's done is done. You don't have to do this. I'll take responsibility for what I did. The third prince and Feng Xia wanted to kill me. If I didn't eliminate them, I would be the one to die. I won't leave any trouble for myself. You're decisive in killing. Your future is boundless." Butian praised Longao's character and domineering attitude. How many people in the entire universe could do that? "Brother Bu, if you don't mind, I'd like to be friends with you. How about it? Do you think that's possible?" Butian smiled. He really couldn't understand this young man in front of him. They were clearly enemies, but now he wanted to make friends with him. If it was someone else, would they do this? What an interesting young man. Longao laughed as well. There are no eternal friends or eternal enemies in this world. You're in the heaven-devouring empire, but you're not one of us. Since that's the case, why can't we be friends? There's no enmity between us. Longao was certain that Butian wasn't the only one. He believed that many of the Starry Sky Realm Lords were just consecrated existences of the heaven-devouring empire. As expected. Looks like you've already guessed it. You're right, I'm just a consecrator of the heaven-devouring empire, not a member of the heaven-devouring empire. However, I owe the heaven-devouring empire a debt of gratitude. I can't do anything to betray the empire. Brother Bu, I think you've misunderstood. I'm not asking you to go against the heaven-devouring empire, nor will I ask you to do anything to betray the empire. I truly want to be friends with you." Butian didn't continue speaking. He lowered his head and drank one cup after another. Butian didn't say anything. Longao didn't say anything either. He knew that this was a difficult task for Butian. Butian was thinking while Longao was waiting. The two of them drank quietly. Chapter 2034. Time passed bit by bit. After an unknown amount of time. Brother Longao didn't even need to ask to know that Butian had chosen to be his friend. He immediately rejoiced. Big Brother Boo, the two of them raised their cups at the same time and drank. After drinking for 2 hours, the two of them gradually stopped. With their cultivation bases, it was impossible for them to get drunk. Brother Long, where did you come from? Butian was still very curious about this question. His intuition told him that Longao definitely came from the tens of thousands of worlds controlled by the heaven-devouring empire. The chances of him coming from another empire were too low. After all, Longao had no reason to provoke the heaven-devouring empire. Butian carefully thought about the warning. If the cosmic sect hadn't provoked Longao wouldn't have been so bored as to provoke the cosmic sect. Butian smiled. Brother Boo, I came from this world. Have you heard of the Sky Martial Plane? No. No? Longao thought about it and understood. If Butian had heard of the legends of the Sky Martial Continent, there was no way he wouldn't go there. Since that was the case, there was no need for him to say anything. Although the God Diviner and Butian were both universal world lords, Longao felt that the God Diviner's strength was too profound. Even Butian wouldn't be a match for him. If he went to the Sky Martial Continent and Butian died, wouldn't he blame himself for the rest of his life? Brother Boo, the Martial Heaven Continent I'm from has a powerful Starry Sky World Master. In order to prevent my plane from being disturbed by the outside world, that Starry Sky World Master used his power to seal it. After so many years, I'm the first person to come out of my plane. Even the current me is unable to find the coordinates of my plane. Ah! Butian jumped in fright when he heard Longao's words. Butian was very curious and said, The Starry Sky Realm Lord of your realm has a strange personality. No matter who it is, they all want to open their own realm. This way, the realm can continue to grow stronger. Sealing oneself is something that has never happened before. Not to mention Butian, even Longao couldn't understand the God Diviner's actions. Even if the Sky Martial Continent had a universal secret realm, with the God Diviner's strength, who would dare to act recklessly in the Sky Martial Continent? Furthermore, as long as by the God Diviner, no one would know about the universal secret realm. Helplessly shrugging his shoulders, Longao helplessly said, I also don't know what he is thinking. Brother Long, you have so many secrets by you. No. Resolutely and decisively, Longao said, the secrets on my body were all exchanged with my life and death. Big Brother Boo, I will tell you about this matter in the future, but now… He sighed deeply. Looking up at the sky, Butian worriedly said, Brother Long, you refined the third prince into a puppet. This matter cannot be concealed. I have already sent the puppet back to the Empire. If nothing unexpected happens, the Empire will soon make a move against you. You are alone, why do you need to do this? Why? Did he want to offend the heaven-devouring Empire? Longao didn't care and said, the winner is king and the loser is a bandit. If I didn't kill the third prince, with the relationship between the third prince and Feng Xia, I don't need to guess that they wouldn't let me go. After so long, the Heaven and Earth sect and the third prince have been chasing after me. If I didn't do anything, the one dead would be me. This was the cruel reality. Longao was strong enough to kill the third prince and Heaven and Earth sect's Master Feng Qing. What if it was a normal cultivator? Being killed by Heaven and Earth sect and the third prince was like a drop of water in the ocean. It wouldn't cause any ripples. This was the reality. This was the law of survival in the vast universe. As the powerful ruler of the universe, how could Butian not understand this? In the vast universe, it was either you kill me or I kill you. There was no mercy. If you were merciful to your enemies, it was the same as being cruel to yourself. Because your enemies wouldn't be merciful to you. Thinking about this, Butian nodded. Based on my guess, if nothing goes wrong, the heaven-devouring empire won't send anyone over for the time being. I'll deal with you. During this period of time, Brother Long, you should destroy Heaven and Earth sect as soon as possible and escape. As long as you can leave the territory of the heaven-devouring empire, they won't be able to find you. The vast universe was boundless. The tens of thousands of worlds controlled by the heaven-devouring empire were just a drop in the ocean. The entire universe was simply too big. Longao knew what Butian meant. But could he leave? Wherever he went, if he fled as long as someone wanted to deal with him, when would it end? Big Brother Boo, as long as the heaven-devouring empire comes, no matter who it is, I won't let them leave alive. Although they hadn't known each other for a long time, Butian had a rough understanding of Longao's character. Longao was stubborn. Once he decided on something, it was almost impossible to change his mind. It was understandable. If it was someone else, they would have fled long ago when facing the Heaven and Earth sect and the heaven-devouring empire. However, Longao chose to stay and deal with the Heaven and Earth sect. In the end, he even caused a huge commotion in the Heaven and Earth sect. If Butian didn't see it with his own eyes, he wouldn't believe that a level 9 cultivator would do something like this. After thinking for a while, Butian said, "Although you killed the third prince, the heaven-devouring empire won't send a large force because of their reputation. If I can't deal with you in a few months, I believe that other universal realm lords will come. With me around, you can rest assured. I'm just afraid that some old freaks will come. If that happens, things will get troublesome." Even among the universal realm lords, there were differences in strength. As for Butian's level, Longao didn't know, but he didn't ask. "I'll deal with whatever comes my way. I'll kill whoever comes my way." Longao didn't want to continue to dwell on this issue. He was very clear about what he had done. Since he had chosen, he wouldn't regret it. Looking at the young man beside him, Butian's face was filled with admiration. He knew that the rise of every supreme expert was like this. Those who were afraid of everything wouldn't be able to reach the peak of the martial Tao. However, the path was filled with danger. Perhaps Longao would really be able to reach the peak of the martial Tao in the future. It was a height that Butian couldn't reach. Chapter 2035. After drinking for an entire day and night, Tian left. As for Longao, he was prepared to deal with Qiankuan sect. According to Butian, he couldn't do anything to Qiankuan sect. Otherwise, the heaven-devouring empire would definitely notice something amiss. Qiankuan sect. The moment Butian returned, Hong Qi and Jiang Chong said excitedly, "Sir, you're finally back. What's wrong?" Butian could guess what the two of them wanted to say. Given their speed, the heaven-devouring empire should have received the third prince's corpse by now. Just as expected. "Sir, the empire has received the third prince's puppet. The entire empire is enraged, especially His Majesty. He has ordered you to bring Longao back to the empire no matter what." Corpse? No. He felt very helpless in his heart. This time, Longao had poked a hornet's nest. He didn't know why, but in recent years, Longao seemed to love this third prince very much. Otherwise, he definitely wouldn't be standing here. The third prince's death was a huge humiliation to the empire. How could the heaven-devouring empire let this go so easily? Killing Longao. As for why they didn't want the corpse, Butian could guess the reason. Longao's speed is too fast. Even I can't catch up to him. Hurry up and find him. Remember, don't kill him. The empire wants him captured alive. It was difficult to kill him, let alone capture him alive. Old Black, Old White, Hong Qi, Jiang Chong, Old Ancestor Qiankuan, and Situ, he didn't dare to be careless. They knew how serious this matter was. If they couldn't capture Longao alive, they would all die if the heaven-devouring empire were to blame them. A world's surface wasn't big. But even so, there were at least tens of thousands of worlds. They couldn't search every single one of them. It would be like searching for a needle in a haystack. They didn't know if it was intentional. As the 6 of them left, Butian also went out to search for Longao. Only Feng Xia was left in Qiankuan's sect. As for the Universal Region Emperors and Universal Region Emperors, they were all sent out by Butian. After everyone left, several hours later, Longao's figure had already appeared outside Universe Peak. In the end, you still came. Feng Xia was a very smart person. Although she didn't have any concrete evidence, she was very clear that Butian and Longao were definitely not enemies. They were most likely friends. There was only one explanation for Butian's actions, and that was to let Longao deal with him. That was indeed the case. Feng Xia really could not figure out why Butian would help Longao. Could the two of them be in cahoots? Feng Xia, all of this was caused by you. Seeing that you're a woman, you should just kill yourself. Although Feng Xia was the Starry Sky Domain Lord, Longao didn't take her seriously. Longao's cultivation had advanced smoothly from a Grade 8 Starry Sky cultivator to a Grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator. He was confident that it would be more than enough to kill a Starry Sky region lord. How could Feng Xia not know about this? If it were an ordinary Grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator, she would not care about it at all. Only Longao. Only this perverted lunatic, a lunatic who couldn't be reasoned with common sense. Feng Xia did not have the slightest confidence in fighting Longao, but did she care? Smiling, Feng Xia spoke with an indifferent expression, Longao, do you think you can kill me? With Master here, not to mention you, even Butian might not be able to touch me. Let's give it a try. Feng Xia, of course, knew why Longao had such confidence. When Butian attacked, Longao used the Starry Sky Spirit artifact to release 7 powerful star boundary forces. There was no doubt that Longao's Starry Sky Spirit artifact must have sealed the 7 Starry Sky Domain Lords' essence spirits and consciousnesses. 1 against 7, could he win? Feng Xia did not have the slightest confidence. But at this moment, Feng Xia's face suddenly changed and she spoke with a smile. Longao, since you're here today, don't leave. Feng Xia's attitude suddenly took a 180-degree turn, as if she had turned into a completely different person, full of confidence. Was there something fishy about it? Longao could only think of one possibility, that was, the powerful essence spirit remnant consciousness behind Feng Xia. In the next second, Feng Xia's aura suddenly changed, and a terrifying aura began to envelop Feng Xia. In just a few seconds, Feng Xia's aura disappeared. The essence spirit took over the body. Longao certainly knew what had happened. If nothing unexpected happened, the essence spirit remnant consciousness at this moment should have temporarily taken over Feng Xia's body. This would be big trouble. Although the essence spirit remnant consciousnesses of the 7 seniors were in the 7 stars bead, they were still essence spirit remnant consciousnesses, while the other party had temporarily taken over the body. If they fought like this, he would lose without a doubt. Longao did not expect that Feng Xia would use this move on him. Suddenly opening her eyes, Feng Xia's eyes shot out a cold light as she sneered and said, Longao, you are the most arrogant person I have ever seen, but I like your character very much. This old man has never accepted a disciple. Xia was the first, and I hope you will be the second. As long as you are willing to worship me, I can guarantee that within 100 years, your cultivation will break through to the Starry Sky Realm Lord. How about it? Breaking through to the Starry Sky Realm Lord within 100 years, for a Starry Sky cultivator, especially a level 9 Starry Sky cultivator, it was simply a huge temptation. If it was an ordinary person, they would definitely not be able to resist such a temptation, but what about Longao? Longao smiled and said in a carefree manner, Do you think I care about you? How laughable! A person who doesn't even dare to speak about his life dares to dawdle here. What a joke. Instead of getting angry, he laughed, as if the more Longao behaved like this, the more the other party admired him. He said, "This old man will never change his name. Ning Wuk is this old man." Ning Wuk? Longao had never heard of Ning Wuk before, but he thought that this person's reputation should be very big. "Brat, not everyone has an opportunity like yours. Let me give you a piece of advice. You'd better agree to my request. Otherwise, I can only kill you and occupy your body. At that time, even if you beg me, I may not accept you as my disciple." Threats and threats. Ning Wuk valued Longao's talent and potential, but Longao shook his head and said, "Sorry, I have no interest in you, but if I destroy you, or refine your primordial spirit into a starry sky godhead, it might be a very good thing. What do you think?" This time, Ning Wuk was really a little angry. With his status and strength, he was actually rejected and ignored by the other party again and again. Chapter 2036. Longao, I gave you face, but you don't want it. Retard. Longao's face was filled with disdain and contempt. Before Ning Wuk could make a move, Longao used his finger as a sword and shot out a ray of reincarnation sword chi. The space on the left was sliced open and a space crack appeared. Ning Wuk was shocked. Space crack. Not daring to be careless, Ning Wuk hurriedly dodged but was still almost swallowed by the space crack. "You are courting death." With a stride, Ning Wuk's figure was already charging towards Longao at an extremely fast speed. A powerful domain started to envelop Ning Wuk. This time, Longao also wanted to try and see if he could destroy Ning Wuk. If it was his original body, he wouldn't even need to fight and would immediately turn and leave. But now, the situation was different. Ning Wuk's original body had already fallen and only his primordial spirit was left. In order to end the battle quickly, Longao took out the 7-star pearl at the beginning of the battle. 7 terrifying astral powers were released at the same time, suppressing Ning Wuk at the same time. According to Longao's calculations, with the power of the 7 stars pearl, it would only take a few minutes to suppress Ning Wuk's primordial spirit. But the result? A shocking scene happened. Longao never expected that Ning Wuk's primordial spirit wouldn't be suppressed by the 7 primordial spirit. Instead, it started to suppress the 7 stars pearl. This was too much of a pain in the ass. How strong was Ning Wuk? Longao was almost certain that if it was his original body, the 7 of them wouldn't be Ning Wuk's match. Since he couldn't win, he should leave first. Longao didn't fight to the end because Ning Wuk's strength had already exceeded his knowledge. He should leave first and see how he could deal with Ning Wuk. Longao made use of teleportation and disappeared without a trace after a few teleportations. Ning Wuk didn't give chase because he was only a remnant primordial spirit. If he were to chase after her recklessly, who knew what would happen? His remnant primordial spirit retreated and returned the control of the body to Feng Xia. "Master, where is Longao?" "He ran away." "Ran away?" Even Feng Xia found it hard to believe that Longao had escaped from her master's hands. Others might not know her master's strength, but she did. "Master, what should we do now?" "Let's endure it for now. When Master is reborn, then." Longao left the universe plane and stared coldly at the universe plane in front of him. Even now, he still hadn't realized that Feng Xia's master was so powerful. Fighting 1 against 7, Ning Wuk's remnant primordial spirit suppressed the 7-star beads. Longao and Butian quickly contacted each other. It was still the same plane, the same cold place. "Brother Long, you didn't kill Feng Xia?" Butian was very curious. Although Feng Xia was the Starry Sky Domain Lord, with Longao's strength, killing Feng Xia would be a matter of minutes. And the result? It was a little strange. Longao did not hide anything, and recounted everything that had happened in the Qianquan plain. The more he heard, the uglier his expression became. Big Brother Boo, do you know Ning Wuk? Although there were countless starry sky domain lords in the vast universe, Ning Wuk was so powerful that he definitely wasn't a nobody. With Bu Tian's status and strength, he should know Ning Wuk's situation. Ning Wuk, it's actually Ning Wuk. As expected. Looking at Bu Tian's expression, Longao knew that Big Brother Boo definitely knew Ning Wuk. Big Brother Boo, who is Ning Wuk? Brother Long, you don't know. Many years ago, a peerless genius was born. In just a few thousand years, he had already reached the pinnacle of starry sky domain lord. He was invincible in tens of thousands of realms. Longao had already guessed it. He wasn't surprised at all. So Ning Wuk was so powerful. Many years ago, a peerless genius was born. In just a few thousand years, he had already reached the pinnacle of starry sky domain lord. He was invincible in tens of thousands of realms. Longao couldn't figure it out. Since Ning Wuk was so powerful, how did he die? As if he could guess what Longao was thinking, he continued, Ning Wuk's death is still a mystery. Because no one knows how he died. However, Brother Long, with your current situation, you definitely aren't Ning Wuk's match. Even if it's me. Shock. Big Brother Boo, isn't this a little too exaggerated? Brother Long, there are some things you still don't understand. When your cultivation breaks through to Starry Sky Domain Lord, you will naturally understand. Bu Tian was obviously unwilling to say more. Since that was the case, Longao didn't ask anymore. In the end, it was still because he wasn't strong enough. However, a level 9 Starry Sky cultivator wasn't much in the vast universe. Longao thought that his cultivation speed was already very fast. In just a few years, he had broken through from a Hotian realm warrior to a level 9 Starry Sky cultivator. However, in the vast universe, it wasn't much because there were many people who cultivated faster than him. It was because of the environment. Longao was completely confident. Now that he had come to the vast universe and cultivated in such an environment, he believed that in less than 100 years, he would definitely reach Starry Sky Territory Ancestor or even Starry Sky Domain Lord. Brother Long, with your talent and potential, even in the vast universe, you are of very good existence. I believe that you are confident that you can reach my level in at most 100 years. At that time, it won't be too late to deal with Feng Xia. There's no need to fight with her now. It won't do you any good. Longao nodded. How could he not understand Big Brother Boo's worries? If it was just Feng Xia alone, he wouldn't be afraid at all. However, Feng Xia had Ning Wuk's help now. It was almost impossible for him to kill Feng Xia. The only thing he could do now was to wait. He had to wait for his cultivation to break through. As long as he could reach Starry Sky Territory Ancestor, he would dare to try and deal with Ning Wuk. Big Brother Boo, I will go to the Heaven-Devouring Empire to take a look. Bu Tian seemed a little dumbfounded. He said, Brother Long, I know that you aren't afraid of anything. However, there are some things that you can't do now. For example, the Heaven-Devouring Empire. With your strength and the matter with the third prince, if you appear in the Heaven-Devouring Empire, you will definitely be killed. In my opinion, you should stay here and cultivate. It won't be too late to go to the Heaven-Devouring Empire after you break through to Starry Sky Territory Lord. Longao thought about it and decided to give up on going to the Heaven-Devouring Empire. After all, it wasn't a wise choice to fight with Ning Wuk head-on. Chapter 2037. No one knew about the relationship between Longao and Bu Tian. This was the reason why. Up till now, the Heaven-Devouring Empire was still relying on Bu Tian to kill Longao. If the Heaven-Devouring Empire knew about this, they might go easy on Bu Tian because he was the Universal Domain Lord. It was hard to tell who was right and who was wrong. Longao didn't continue attacking Heaven and Earth sect. No matter what, Ning Wuk was too strong. Even the 7-star pearl couldn't suppress Ningguang. Butian chose to leave. Longao chose to stay and prepare to break through to the universal domain lord level. He was just one step away, using the power of the universe to condense it into star domain power. It sounded simple, but it was extremely difficult. This time, Longao decided that he wouldn't leave until he broke through to the universal domain lord level. The weather was cold. Longao sat on the ground quietly. The energy in his body started to circulate, round after round, until it reached an endless state. I still can't break through. What's going on? He still had not broken through, which made Longao very curious, because under normal circumstances, his cultivation should have broken through long ago. Master, you need a large amount of energy to devour. Hearing Long Fu's message, Longao had already guessed it. Since that was the case, why should he continue cultivating? Devour energy. The vast starry sky was fundamentally different from an ordinary plane. Longao did not hold back at all. He continuously devoured the primordial spirits of the starry sky cultivators. In just a few days, he had devoured the primordial spirits of hundreds of starry sky cultivators. Longao's dantian was like a bottomless abyss. No matter how many yuan spirits he devoured, it was still far from enough. Longao was also extremely depressed. Just where the F***ck was he going to devour to? Master, there's a way for you to break through to the universal domain lord level. What way? Hearing Long Fu's words, Longao was overjoyed and couldn't wait to ask. Master, you won't be able to devour the 7 primordial spirits in the 7-star pearl. Their physiques are different. As for the primordial spirit of the universe realm lord, I'm planning to refine a corpse slave for you, but I won't be able to devour it either. Longao didn't say anything because he didn't know what Long Fu wanted to say. Master, let's talk about your breakthrough later. Why don't you give me the 7 stars pearl and I will forcibly imprint it into the Qianquan realm lord's skeleton. At that time, the corpse demon refined by the Qianquan realm lord would be able to reach the peak of the starry sky, far surpassing all other world overlords. He nodded. The 7 primordial spirits within the 7-star bead were unable to resist the true starry sky realm lord. If he could fuse the 7-star bead into the corpse of the universe realm lord, it might not be a bad thing. Giving the 7-star bead to Long Fu, Longao naturally knew what Long Fu meant. Fusing the primordial spirits of 7 world overlords into a corpse demon, one could imagine how strong it would be. Long Fu, how long will it take? He couldn't wait any longer. Longao had already thought it through. Once the corpse demon was refined, not only the universe sect, but even the heaven-devouring empire would have to be eradicated. At that time, he would definitely head over to the heaven-devouring empire personally. I don't know, but it shouldn't be short. Long Fu was helpless and continued, Master, I've already said that if you want to break through to the starry sky domain lord level, just devouring the primordial spirits of other cultivators is far from enough. Then what should I do? Only by breaking through to the starry sky domain lord level could one be considered a true expert. Breaking through to the starry sky domain lord level was a must. Master, I'll borrow the power of the dragon seal to help you break through. Will it affect me? Leave it to me. Longao entered the dragon seal space and immediately started cultivating. The entire dragon seal was mobilized by Long Fu, and energy started flowing into Longao's body like water droplets entering the ocean. Just as Long Fu had guessed, the power of the dragon seal was far above the primordial spirits of other cultivators. 3 days later, the starry sky domain within Longao's body instantly condensed into star domain power. This also meant that Longao's cultivation base had advanced smoothly from a level 9 starry sky cultivator to a starry sky domain lord. Although it was only a 1-grade breakthrough, the difference in strength was huge. He couldn't help but be pleasantly surprised. This time, it was all thanks to Long Fu. Otherwise, who knew how long it would take for him to break through from a level 9 cultivator to a Starry Sky Domain Lord? Master, you've successfully broken through. Based on this situation, it seems a little difficult for you to break through to the Starry Sky Domain Lord level. Even the Dragon Seal won't be able to replenish your energy. He let out a deep sigh. Although the reincarnation's sacred body was the first physique, it required too much energy, like a bottomless abyss. Just breaking through to the Starry Sky Domain Lord level required the help of the Dragon Seal. It was far from enough to devour the primordial spirits of Starry Sky cultivators. It was hard to imagine how much energy it would take to break through to the Starry Sky Domain Lord level. Even the Dragon Seal couldn't help him. It was really difficult to rely on devouring the primordial spirits of Starry Sky cultivators. Long Fu, I already know what you mean. From now on, I'll keep devouring the primordial spirits of Starry Sky cultivators. I don't believe that it'll be useless if I keep devouring. Master, with your current strength, once you use all kinds of trump cards, even a Starry Sky Domain Lord won't be able to resist you. According to my guess, as long as you keep devouring, you'll need about 1 to 3 years to successfully accumulate enough energy. At that time, it won't be impossible for you to break through to the Starry Sky Domain Lord level in one fell swoop. 1 to 3 years to break through from Starry Sky Domain Lord to Starry Sky Domain Emperor might sound like a long time, but for Starry Sky cultivators, 1 to 3 years was just a blink of an eye. Moreover, one could continue to break through in such a short time. If other Starry Sky cultivators knew about this, they might die of envy. People with great talents could indeed make breakthroughs in just a few years, but for ordinary Starry Sky cultivators, it would take decades or even centuries for them to break through from Starry Sky Domain Lord to Starry Sky Domain Emperor. Longao left the Dragon Seal space and stood on the peak of the mountain, stretching his body. The breakthrough in his cultivation made his strength soar again. Now, he could almost kill anyone below the Starry Sky Domain Lord level. As for the Starry Sky Domain Lord level, it wouldn't be difficult for him. This was Longao. Originally, Longao didn't want to continue to deal with the Qiankuan sect, but with the breakthrough in his cultivation, he was ready to give it a try. Even if he couldn't kill Fangxia, there was still the whole Qiankuan sect. Chapter 2038. Longao wasn't dead? Everyone thought that with Realm Lord Butian's arrival, Longao was dead for sure. But in the end, Longao was still fine, which made everyone curious. Could it be that Realm Lord Butian was dying? Butian looked very anxious, but he wasn't anxious at all. As for the 6 Starry Sky Sector Lords, they were frantically looking for Longao. However, it was a little difficult to find a trace of a person in a realm with tens of thousands of planes. The 6 of them were worried that if Longao left the world's surface, even the heaven-devouring empire wouldn't be able to find Longao. Just as the 6 of them were frantically searching for Longao, Longao's figure silently appeared on Qiankuan Peak. Reincarnation lightning strike. With the breakthrough in his cultivation, Longao's strength surged once more. Under the continuous attacks, the entire Qiankuan Peak was destroyed before Fangxia could react. In the following period of time, Longao began to chase away the people on the world's surface. As for the ordinary people, those who hadn't reached the universal realm, Longao took them away and placed them in other world. 10 days later, 99% of the people were taken away by Longao. Only the Qiankuan sect members were left. Brother Long, are you sure you want to do this? Butian was very depressed because Longao's method was a bit too crazy. I've made up my mind. Brother Long, you must think clearly. In the vast starry sky, no matter which plane it is, no one dares to destroy a plane. This is something that no Starry Sky cultivator dares to do. If you destroy the Qiankuan plane, you will become the public enemy of the vast starry sky. Public enemy? Would Longao care? If Longao was afraid, he wouldn't have offended Qianquan sect and heaven-devouring empire. He even killed the third prince. Butian sighed deeply. Butian knew Longao's character well. Once he decided on something, he wouldn't change his mind. There was no point in continuing to persuade him. Brother Long, be careful. Yes. After Butian left, Longao came to this plane. Even a starry sky sector lord couldn't destroy a plane, let alone a starry sky domain lord. However, it was possible with the help of some powerful starry sky divine artifacts. However, no one did so. Just as Mufan had said, no matter who it was, as long as they destroyed any plane, they would become the public enemy of the vast starry sky. Everyone had the right to kill them. Many years ago, a starry sky sector lord used a powerful starry sky divine artifact to destroy a plane, angering several starry sky empires, and was destroyed by them. Since then, no one dared to take such a risk, even if it was to avenge the death of one's father. With Longao's strength alone, it was naturally impossible for him to destroy the universe plane. However, Longao wasn't worried at all. Master, you must remember one thing. You must end the battle quickly. Otherwise, once the matter of the dragon seal is leaked, the consequences will be unimaginable. Longao wanted to borrow the power of the dragon seal to destroy the entire universe plane. If it was in the Sky Martial continent, it would be impossible for the dragon seal to do this. But now, the situation was completely different. Ever since Longao stepped into the vast starry sky, the dragon seal began to devour the surrounding starry sky force. In just a few months it had recovered a lot and was able to destroy a plane. However, at this time, Long Fu didn't advise Longao to do it. However, Longao had already made up his mind. No one could persuade him otherwise. Let's begin. Longao was very clear of Long Fu's worries. The dragon seal was a famous starry sky divine artifact. If it was leaked, there would be a lot of trouble. Longao threw the dragon seal. The small black seal flew above the plane and became a huge black seal. The destruction began. In just a few minutes, the entire universe plane was constantly smashed by the dragon seal. The plane began to shatter. However, the universe plane was still a high-level plane. Even if it was the dragon seal, it wouldn't be easy to completely destroy it. He had to end the battle quickly. Just as everyone rushed over after hearing the news, Longao had already disappeared with the dragon seal. As for the universe plane, it had turned into pieces and disappeared into the vast starry sky without a trace. Looking at the universe plane that had been destroyed and disappeared, everyone was dumbfounded. Because no one thought that Longao would really go against the rules of the vast starry sky and destroy the universe plane. Although they were shocked, they were even more furious. No matter who it was, even the ruler of the starry sky, they wouldn't dare to casually destroy a plane. After all, such a thing was hated by everyone. If it was light, they would be killed. If it was heavy, even their Yuan spirit would be destroyed. Fang Xia and the others had fled in time. If they hadn't been careful, they really would have disappeared along with the plane. The news of Longao destroying the Qianquan plane instantly spread out. This kind of thing was hard to come by in 10,000 years. While everyone was feeling angry, they were also amazed by Longao's madness. He was simply a madman. How many people would want to provoke such a madman? Not only did Longao go against the Qianquan sect, he didn't even put the heaven-devouring empire in his eyes. Now that he had destroyed a Qianquan plane, no one would want to offend such a vicious and fearless lunatic. Everyone was discussing spiritedly, and the target was Longao. After various things, Longao became completely famous. With the destruction of the universe plane, the entire universe sect was finished. Only ancestor Qianquan, Situhi, and Fang Xia were left. Strictly speaking, there were only two people left. One was Ancestor Qian Kuan, and the other was Feng Xia. After finding a new mid-grade plane, Ancestor Qian Kuan and Feng Xia's faces were extremely dark. They didn't expect Longao to be so crazy as to destroy the entire universe plane. Was Longao not afraid of being hunted down by the people in the vast starry sky? Ancestor, what should we do now? What can we do? We're out in the open while Longao is in the dark. But don't worry, Longao has destroyed the universe plane. If nothing unexpected happens, many people will be willing to kill Longao. At that time, we won't have to do anything. As for the destroyed sect, we'll rebuild it sooner or later. Standing by the side, Situ he shook his head and said disapprovingly, "Old brother, things aren't as simple as you think. Longao is like a lunatic. Under such circumstances, no matter how angry people are, no one would want to offend Longao unless the heaven-devouring empire took action personally. However, I noticed that Butian seems to be stalling for time. This way, someone will deal with Longao." Situ He's reminder made Ancestor Qian Kuan understand the seriousness of the matter. Thinking about it now, things weren't that simple. Chapter 2039. Strictly speaking, with Butian's strength, wanting to kill Longao was simply as easy as flipping his hand. But the result? After so long, Butian still had nothing to show for it. They wouldn't believe that there was nothing fishy going on. "Brother Situ, what do you think we should do now?" Situ he thought for a while and said, "Old brother, there's only one way. We should send a message back to the heaven-devouring empire and see what their decision is." It was a good idea, but Ancestor Heaven and Earth had his concerns. With a helpless expression, he said, "Brother Situ, Butian's strength is right there. If we secretly send news to the empire and Butian finds out, we will be in big trouble." How could Situ he not know the consequences? "There's no other way." Feng Xia, who had been silent, said, "Ancestor, Senior Situ is right. If Butian is related to Longao, not only will we not be able to kill Longao, but we'll—" At this point, Feng Xia didn't continue, but the meaning of her words was very clear. After thinking for a while, in the end Ancestor Heaven and Earth said helplessly, "Since that's the case, we'll listen to the two of you. We'll send a message back to the Empire and hope that the heaven-devouring Empire will deal with Butian." It was impossible to deal with Butian. The three of them knew what it meant to be a Universe Realm Lord. Even in the heaven-devouring Empire, a Universe Realm Lord was a high existence. The news of Longao's destruction of the Qiankuan Plain had spread across the entire world. Even the other worlds, including the heaven-devouring empire, knew about it. Longao was famous in the universe. Lunatic. A lunatic who wasn't afraid of anything. No one would want to offend such a lunatic, unless it was the heaven-devouring empire. Before the three of them could send a message back, the heaven-devouring empire gave them an order. What should they do? Butian was in a dilemma. As a friend, he couldn't deal with Longao, but he owed the empire a favor. If he didn't do anything, how was he going to answer to the empire? Butian still hadn't made a move? The three of them already knew that the empire had issued an order, but Butian still didn't make any moves. If the three of them still couldn't guess what was going on, then they would be too retarded. That was indeed the case. The three of them cursed in their hearts. At the same time, they couldn't understand why Longao and Butian would be together. He gritted his teeth. In order to kill Longao, Patriarch Heaven and Earth was willing to expose the secret of the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Both Patriarch Heaven and Earth and Situ he knew that it would be difficult for them to control Longao given his situation. Since he couldn't obtain the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, he would use the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet to deal with Longao. The news of Longao possessing a Primal Chaos Steel instantly spread out. If it were anything else, no one would care. The only exception was the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Every cultivator in the starry skies knew of the legend of the 12 primal chaos stone tablet. Moreover, there was a legend that spread throughout the vast starry skies. Anyone who could obtain a primal chaos stone tablet could become a ruler of the starry skies. Did Longao really have a primal chaos stone tablet? No one was a fool. Of all times, this news just had to be spread now. Anyone with eyes could tell that this was a scheme of heaven and earth sect. They wanted to use the primal chaos stone tablet to kill Imouji. If one believed this news, then one would be a fool. Heaven and earth sect was shameless to the extreme. They didn't even hesitate to spread the news of the primal chaos stone tablet. However, there were still some people who weren't afraid of death and liked to meddle in other people's business. Without mentioning the primal chaos stone tablet, just the fact that Longao destroyed the heaven and earth plane was enough to infuriate everyone. Many people wanted to kill Longao. Longao ignored everyone. If one came, he would kill one. If two came, he would kill two. His cultivation had just broken through to the universal domain lord level. Longao was prepared to continue devouring the primordial spirits of other cultivators. He hoped that he could break through to the universal domain lord level in the shortest time possible. According to what Long Fu said, if he wanted to break through to the universal domain lord level, the amount of primordial spirits he needed to devour was simply too large. It wasn't something that could be done by devouring a few people. Brother Long, things aren't good. What's wrong? Only 2 people knew of Longao's whereabouts. One of them was Ji Mei, and the other was Butian. However, the 2 of them naturally wouldn't reveal Longao's whereabouts. Brother Long, you destroyed the heaven and earth plane previously and infuriated everyone. Many cultivators have formed a crusade alliance to kill you. They won't let this matter rest. Crusade alliance? Up until now, Ji Mei still couldn't react in time. He had never thought that Longao would do such a crazy thing. Even the Starry Sky Sector Lord wouldn't dare to do such a thing. Now that the Subjugation Crusade Alliance was formed, it would be troublesome to deal with them. Longao wasn't surprised at all. Since he dared to destroy the heaven and earth plane, he had already thought of the consequences. As for the so-called Crusade Alliance, it was simply a joke. If he suffered a few losses in a row, he believed that the Crusade Alliance would collapse by itself. Longao didn't care at all. He smiled and said, "It's fine. When the time comes, I will block soldiers with arms and water with an earth weir. Ji Mei, do you know where I can find a powerful source of energy? I want to break through to the universal domain lord level, and I need a huge amount of energy." Ji Mei knew Longao's character very well. What else could he say? Longao had just stepped into the vast starry sky and didn't know much about the starry sky. However, Ji Mei was a native, which was why Longao asked Ji Mei. After thinking for a while, Ji Mei said, "Brother Long, I remember a place. There aren't any starry sky cultivators in this plane. All of them are starry sky divine beasts. Ordinary starry sky cultivators don't dare to step into this plane. However, there are adventurers who go there. Firstly, they want to find a companion or a mount. Secondly, they want to cultivate there because this place is indeed a holy land for cultivation." This was the kind of place he wanted. Longao couldn't wait and asked, "Ji Mei, what kind of plane is it?" "Divine Beast Plane." "Brother Long, do you really want to enter the Divine Beast Plane? Let me tell you, the guardian of the Divine Beast Plane is a peak starry sky territory ancestor divine beast. Unless the Universal Domain Lord comes, no one can defeat this starry sky territory ancestor divine beast." Ji Mei didn't need Longao to answer. He had already guessed that Longao would definitely go to the Divine Beast Plane. Just as he expected, Longao smiled and asked Iji Plum Blossom for the specific location before setting off alone. Longao was also like this. Generally, he would not involve his friends in dangerous matters. After all, Iji Plum Blossom was just a grade 9 starry sky cultivator. Without any protection, going to the God-Beast plane would only result in death. Chapter 2040. The Divine Beast Plane was a high-level plane. Just as Plum Blossom had said, there were divine beasts everywhere in the Divine Beast Plane. Ordinary starry sky cultivators wouldn't dare to enter the Divine Beast Plane. Longao carefully entered the Divine Beast Plane according to the location Plum Blossom had told him. He headed straight for his destination. The sacred cultivation ground was in the center of the Divine Beast Plane. The Divine Beast Plane was huge. Even with Longao's speed and caution, it would take him about 2 hours to reach his destination. It was a huge lake. The flaming red vermilion bird. Longao was curious why a fire-attributed starry sky divine beast would choose this place to cultivate. After all, water and fire were incompatible. Senior, I didn't mean to offend you. Longao didn't try to hide. As soon as he stepped into the destination, he was locked on by an aura. Without a doubt, the flaming red vermilion bird had locked on to him. It would be a lie if he said he wasn't afraid. No matter what, the flaming red vermilion bird was a starry sky territory ancestor divine beast. Even ancestor Qianquan and Situ he together wouldn't be its match. The flaming red vermilion bird was a peak starry sky territory ancestor divine beast. A figure flashed by. A peerless beauty appeared and sneered. Didn't mean to offend you? I think you came here intentionally. Kid, you should know that those who trespass on the forbidden land will be killed without mercy. Since he had come, Longao wasn't afraid at all. Senior, I came here to cultivate and break through to the starry sky territory Emperor realm. As a condition, I can agree to one of your conditions. What do you think? He was neither servile nor overbearing. He didn't show any fear. The flaming red vermilion bird was curious and surprised. He could clearly sense that the other party was just a starry sky territory lord. Did he have something to rely on? Any condition? Let's hear it first. Longao wasn't a fool. Of course, he wouldn't agree first. What if the flaming red vermilion bird wanted him to commit suicide? As if it could guess what Longao was thinking, Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird thought for a moment, then smiled and said, "Boy, your courage is not bad, I like it very much. There is no free lunch in this world. If you want to cultivate here, you can stay here and cultivate for 10 years as long as you can help me complete a task. How about it?" He didn't need for 10 years. However, Longao did not immediately agree and did not speak. Because he didn't know what the flaming red vermilion bird wanted him to do. However, with the crimson flame vermilion bird's strength, what it needed him to do was definitely not simple. Senior, my condition. His smile was very wretched and ambiguous. The scarlet flame vermilion bird looked at the human in front of her and said, "Little brat, I think you're quite handsome. I've been lonely for so many years. As long as you agree to accompany me for 10 years, you can cultivate here for 10 years. Ah!" Before Longao could say anything, the flaming red vermilion bird continued, "After 10 years, if you want to cultivate here, it depends on whether I'm interested or not. If I'm not interested, I'm sorry, but you have to leave." What the F***ck? He cursed in his heart. Longao understood what the flaming red vermilion bird meant. She wanted him to be a gigolo and accompany her for 10 years, selling himself in exchange for 10 years of cultivation. If he were another starry sky cultivator, he would have agreed. However, Longao sneered and said, "Senior, I respect that you're a territory ancestor of the starry sky, so I'm very polite to you. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit." Refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit? Hearing that, the flaming red vermilion bird laughed crazily. His laughter was full of disdain and mockery. A little starry sky territory lord dared to behave atrociously here. Had the world changed? Kid, I refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. I want to see what you're going to do. Longao didn't care about her. He walked to the lake. According to E.G. May, the holy land of cultivation was this lake. Plop. Longao's body entered the lake and disappeared in a blink of an eye. They're mine. You wait for me. The flaming red vermilion bird didn't react. Although she was guarding this holy land, she couldn't enter the lake to cultivate. She could only stay here and release wisps of energy. Even so, after so many years of cultivation, she had reached the peak territory ancestor realm. She only needed one more step to break through to the starry sky territory lord realm. Because she couldn't enter the lake to cultivate, she couldn't break through even though she was only one step away. It was the most helpless thing for her. Usually, no one dared to enter the lake without her permission. Women didn't have a chance. Men could cultivate in the lake as long as they accompanied her. Inside the lake, with Longao's strength, entering the lake was like entering a space. As soon as he entered, Long Fu sent him a message with his spiritual consciousness. He was pleasantly surprised. Master, the energy here is too strong. If the dragon seal can absorb the energy here, it can recover 1/3 or even more. Hearing Long Fu's words, Longao was also overjoyed in his heart, because the dragon seal had only recovered 1/10, and it was already able to destroy a plane. Moreover, it was a high-level plane. If the dragon seal could recover 1/3, it was hard to imagine how powerful the dragon seal would be. If the dragon seal was at its peak, it was really unimaginable. Long Fu, what should I do? Master, leave the rest to me. However, the energy here is suitable for the dragon seal to recover. If you, I won't devour it. Longao knew what Long Fu meant. Whether it was him devouring or the dragon seal devouring, it would be beneficial to him. If he had to choose between the two, Longao would choose to let the dragon seal devour the energy instead of devouring it himself. He could devour the yuan spirit and energy of starry sky cultivators at any time, but the dragon seal didn't have such an opportunity all the time. Thank you, Master. Do we still need to thank you? Longao smiled. The faster the dragon seal recovered, the more powerful it would be, and the more it would help him. This was always a good thing. Long Fu, quick, what should I do now? Master, if the dragon seal devours directly, it won't be able to maximize the energy here. I thought about it and there is only one way, which is to use your body to devour the energy and then transfer it to the dragon seal. Although it won't cause you any harm, it will be very painful. Do you think I'm afraid of pain? He didn't even fear death, let alone the so-called pain. Chapter 2041. The power contained within the entire lake was simply too great. Even the dragon seal couldn't instantly devour it. To be safe and to maximize the use of the power here, Long Fu decided to borrow his master's body. Longao's body was the medium. Without wasting any time, the two immediately began. Longao began to borrow the power of the dragon seal to crazily devour the power in the lake. The speed of devouring was slow, then faster and faster. Just like that, Longao began to devour the power at the bottom of the lake. As for the scarlet vermilion bird, she stubbornly guarded the lake. She didn't believe that Longao could hide here forever. As long as he came out, she would kill him without mercy. Gradually, the scarlet vermilion bird felt that something was wrong. It was only the third day, but the power of the entire lake seemed to have weakened by 1%. If it was anyone else, they definitely wouldn't be able to sense it. But the scarlet vermilion bird was different. She had been guarding here for countless years. Even if there was a slight change in the lake, she could clearly sense it. The power was constantly weakening, which could only mean one thing. The other party was devouring the power. Was that possible? Kid, hurry up and come out. Although the scarlet vermilion bird didn't know how the other party was doing it, It couldn't go on like this. If the power of the entire lake was devoured, even if she killed the other party, it would be useless. The scarlet vermilion bird panicked. There was no reply. Longao could obviously hear the scarlet vermilion bird's voice, but he still chose to ignore it. This time, he risked his life to enter the god-beast realm to devour the power. Now that he was finally helping the dragon seal, would he stop? He continued to devour crazily. Long Fu, the speed of devouring is getting slower and slower. Sensing that his speed of devouring was getting slower and slower, Longao was a little surprised. He didn't know what was going on. Thinking about it, Longao finally determined that the main reason why his speed of devouring was getting slower and slower was because his body couldn't withstand the impact of the power. It was fine for a short time, but for a long time it was unrealistic to say that there was no harm to the body. Regarding this point, whether it was Longao or Long Fu, neither of them thought of it. In the end, the power of the lake was too strong. Long Fu also noticed this problem. "Master, please stop devouring first. Let me think about what to do." Longao didn't stop either, but he deliberately slowed down. If he were to help the dragon seal devour the energy and cause problems to his body, the gains would not make up for the losses. The devouring speed had slowed down by 3 times. Even so, Longao still felt a little uncomfortable. Long Fu's expression was very solemn. If the dragon seal directly swallowed it, it would waste at least half of its power. At that time, not to mention recovering half of its power with the help of the dragon seal, it was unknown whether it could recover a quarter or even a tenth of its power. He thought about it over and over again. In the end, Long Fu still decided to let the dragon mark devour directly because he knew very well that it wasn't worth it to destroy his master's body because of the dragon mark's devouring power. "Long Fu, are you really going to do this?" Even without Long Fu saying it, Longao had already guessed what Long Fu was going to do. Without a doubt, Long Fu was definitely going to let the dragon seal devour. This way, although the devouring speed was fast and safe, the only drawback was that it couldn't devour all of the energy. "Master, I've already decided." Longao didn't have a better way to devour the surrounding energy and could only make this choice. Since he said so, he did it. Long Fu began to devour. The dragon seal's devouring speed was indeed crazy. It was 100 times faster than Longao's devouring speed. However, the amount of energy that was wasted was also huge. Long Fu's prediction was still good. According to this method, not to mention devouring half of the energy, it was unknown if it could even maintain a tenth of its power. The power of the lake continued to weaken, causing the scarlet flame vermilion bird to be depressed. Just as the scarlet flame vermilion bird was about to gather its subordinates and enter the lake to take a look, the power of the entire lake had been completely devoured. Even the scarlet flame vermilion bird could no longer feel any energy fluctuations. What in the world happened? Even if the other party had a way to devour the energy, it couldn't be done so quickly. This was King unbelievable. Even if it saw it with its own eyes, it was still unbelievable. The scarlet flame vermilion bird was dumbfounded. In fact, Long Fu and Longao were also depressed. If they wanted to devour the entire lake, it would take at least a few years. Even if it was fast, it would still take a few months. But now, Long Fu could only devour a tenth of the energy. The remaining 90% of the energy was all wasted. Because of the dragon seal's devouring and the energy being wasted, it was no longer a holy land for cultivation. Anger, endless anger. The scarlet flame vermilion bird was completely enraged. For so many years, such a thing had never happened before. If it didn't kill the other party, it wouldn't be able to swallow this anger. Where was he? The lake that had lost its power was no longer of any use to the scarlet flame vermilion bird. With the help of its great spirit power, the scarlet flame vermilion bird directly burned the entire lake, instantly turning it into a huge pit. But what made the scarlet flame vermilion bird dumbfounded was that the other party had disappeared. What was going on? It was as if it had seen a ghost in broad daylight. A small starry sky domain lord had not only devoured all the energy, but had also disappeared right under its nose. Was this possible? Impossible, it was absolutely impossible. The scarlet flame vermilion bird couldn't believe what it had seen. It was a little unbelievable. Moreover, it was certain that the other party was still here, but had hidden himself with the help of a starry sky divine tool. Brat, you have already touched my bottom line. Come out obediently and I can still let you live. If I find you, I will make you beg for death. The crimson flame vermilion bird was clearly enraged, and even his voice was trembling, but after thinking about it for a moment, he felt relieved. As the god-beast plane's strongest master, if this matter were to spread out, where would he put his face? What does it have to do with me? The power of the lake dissipated on its own. I was wondering why I didn't devour any energy at all. Scarlet flame vermilion bird, what happened just now? If I hadn't dodged in time, I believe that I would have died by now. Shameless, simply shameless to the extreme. The scarlet flame vermilion bird was so angry that she almost died. She had seen shameless people before, but she had never seen such a shameless person. He was completely lying through his teeth. The power of the lake was clearly related to him, but now he was asking her about it. Such a person could only be described with one word: shameless. Chapter 2042. Kid, come out if you've got the guts. What's the point of being so sneaky? Are you even a man? He was trying to goad Lin Fan into coming out. Even till now, the vermilion bird was still unable to lock onto Lin Fan's location. He was still in disbelief. To think that he couldn't even lock onto the location of a puny star zone lord. Vermilion bird, there's no grudge between us. I'd better leave first. Kid. You? No matter how much the vermilion bird screamed, Longao had already lost his voice. Could the other party have really left? Of course, Longao hadn't left yet. The dragon seal hadn't even recovered half of its power. Even if he could control the dragon seal, he couldn't move it. Longao was sure that the vermilion bird wouldn't be able to stay for long. Just as expected. Tens of minutes later, the vermilion bird was sure that the other party had already left. Furthermore, the power of the lake had already disappeared. What was the point of staying any longer? Left with no choice, the vermilion bird could only choose to leave. The moment the vermilion bird left, Longao's figure appeared once more. He was somewhat indignant. To think that the dragon seal could only devour less than 10% of the power. The remaining 90% was wasted, disappearing without a trace. According to Long Fu, the dragon seal could only devour less than 10% of the power. That was the minimum amount of help the dragon seal could provide. At most, it could only recover 10%. But for the dragon seal, this was pretty decent. Under normal circumstances, it would take at least a few thousand years for it to recover 10% of its power. There were gains and losses. Longao chuckled. He was still a little too greedy. Ever since he stepped into the universe, his greed had only gotten stronger. Not good. Just then, Longao's face changed. The space around him had been disrupted. Without a doubt, he had already guessed who it was. What a despicable vermilion bird. To think that it would turn back. Seemed like it was purposely luring him out. Ha! Kid, don't think that you can come and go as you please, just because you have a space weapon. I've already disrupted the space around here. I'd like to see how you're going to enter the space weapon. Vermilion bird Chi Yan's face was as dark as it could get. He had been toyed with by the other party. The lake that he had guarded for countless years had been devoured by the other party. How could he not be furious? Because of this lake, The scarlet flaming vermilion bird had reached the peak of Territory Ancestor Realm from the Star Territory Lord Realm. The scarlet vermilion bird wanted to use this lake to break through from the Territory Ancestor Realm to the Territory Lord of Starry Sky. But now all of that had been shattered. Kill. However, the scarlet flame vermilion bird still didn't intend to kill him. He had to capture him and torture him properly. Otherwise, it would be difficult to dispel the hatred in his heart. Why get angry? Why get angry? Hearing the other party's words, the vermilion bird nearly fainted on the spot. She had seen arrogant and shameless people before, but the other party was truly unafraid of death. Brat. Before the scarlet flame vermilion bird could finish speaking, Longao had already counterattacked with his reincarnation sword chi and reincarnation lightning strike. Countless reincarnation sword chi were like lightning as they crazily attacked the scarlet flame vermilion bird. He sneered coldly. Since he dared to take the initiative to attack, the scarlet flame vermilion bird didn't care at all. He took a step forward and disappeared. The scarlet flame vermilion bird's speed was extremely terrifying. Moreover, the scarlet flame vermilion bird's fire attribute wasn't ordinary. The gap between their realms wasn't on the same level. Longao didn't plan to fight the other party head-on. After continuously using reincarnation lightning strike, he turned around and teleported away. So fast! The scarlet flame vermilion bird was startled. He didn't expect the other party's speed to be so fast. As if he had sensed something, the scarlet flame vermilion bird's face changed. He shouted in shock, "The peak of speed, spatial teleportation!" The scarlet flame vermilion bird's speed was at the ancestor level. Of course, he knew what spatial teleportation meant. As the peak of speed, unless it was time teleportation, spatial teleportation was invincible. Fortunately, the other party's strength wasn't too strong. If the other party's cultivation base was at the Starry Sky Emperor realm, even the scarlet flame vermilion bird wouldn't be able to catch up to the other party. If the scarlet flame vermilion bird could use spatial teleportation, he would be excited just thinking about it. In order to ensure that he could catch up to the other party, the scarlet flame vermilion bird transformed into his true form. A huge vermilion bird appeared, covering the sky. Whether it was the speed or strength of the original body, it was far above the human form. The scarlet flame vermilion bird's transformation speed was too fast. Even if Longao used spatial teleportation, it would be hard to shake off the other party. If this continued, he would be killed sooner or later. The consequences would be unimaginable. What should he do? At the moment of life and death, Longao used spatial teleportation to escape while thinking of various methods. From the beginning to the end, he was depressed about one thing. That was the dragon seal space. If he could ignore the spatial fluctuations, he could enter it at any time. Then, not to mention the scarlet flame vermilion bird, he wouldn't even be afraid of the Starry Sky Realm Lord. The dragon seal space only had one flaw. As long as it was disturbed by the spatial fluctuations, then no matter how hard he tried, he wouldn't be able to enter it. In the end, it was because the dragon seal was too damaged and hadn't recovered. If the dragon seal was at its peak, it would definitely ignore the spatial fluctuations. Now that he was depressed about these things, it was useless. The most important thing now was to think of a way to shake off the scarlet flame vermilion bird. If he could smoothly leave the god-beast realm, then it would be impossible for the scarlet flame vermilion bird to find him in the boundless world. But could he smoothly leave the god-beast realm? Longao wasn't confident because the distance between him and the scarlet flame vermilion bird was getting shorter and shorter. At this speed, the scarlet flame vermilion bird would catch up to him in less than 10 minutes. At that time, it would be hard to say whether he would live or die. Big brother, I'll help you block the scarlet flame vermilion bird. You leave first. No. Although Long Chang's cultivation had reached the Starry Sky Realm Lord and his strength was enough to sweep away all the Starry Sky Realm God beasts of the same level, Long Chang's strength wasn't on the same level as the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird. If the two of them fought, Long Chang would only die. How could Long Ao agree to this kind of thing? He would rather die than let anything happen to Long Chang. Big brother, I have a way to shake off the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird. Don't tell me you don't believe me? It wasn't that he didn't believe him, but he didn't dare to gamble. If something happened to Long Chang, what would he do? I don't agree to this. Big brother, it's too late. When the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird catches up to you, I will also die with you. Chapter 2043. Long Ao was still worried. What if something happened to Long Chang? However, since Long Chang insisted, Long Ao had no choice but to leave, leaving Long Chang to face the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird alone. A dragon roar resounded. Long Chang's gigantic body appeared in the air. He and the Vermilion Bird stared at each other, staring at each other. If you want to hurt my big brother, you have to get through me first? Starry Sky Domain Lord Divine Beast? The Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird was dumbfounded. What was going on today? Why did she keep meeting people who weren't afraid of death? Without saying anything else, the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird attacked. As for Long Chang, he wouldn't fight the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird head-on. He knew that even his big brother wasn't its opponent, let alone him. The reason why Long Chang acted this way was to buy time for Long Ao. Long Chang's speed was extremely fast, but the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird soon caught up. Just as the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird was about to attack, Long Ao's figure suddenly appeared and slashed out with his sword. The reincarnation sword Chi ruthlessly slashed out. Even the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird didn't dare to take it head-on. While the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird was dodging, Long Ao directly appeared beside Long Chang. If there's a next time, we can't be brothers anymore. How could Long Ao not know Long Chang's intention? He wanted to use some secret technique to fight the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird alone to protect himself. Long Chang was directly sucked into Long Ao's arm. No matter what happened to Long Chang, he wouldn't believe Long Chang's words. He would rather die than let anything happen to Long Chang. Towering anger. The Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird felt that she was being played. This was too much. To her, it was a great humiliation. If the other party was a Starry Sky Domain Lord, it would be fine if he was just a Starry Sky Domain ancestor. Kid, I want it. Long Ao still didn't give the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird any chance to open its mouth. Just as Long Ao and the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird were about to fight, the power of the Star World suddenly descended and firmly enveloped the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird. Starry Sky Sector Lord! He was completely stunned. Looking at the man who suddenly appeared beside Long Ao, Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird's face instantly turned ugly. She never thought that a Starry Sky Realm Lord would suddenly appear. Who are you? How dare you interfere in our feud? Crimson Flame, we haven't seen each other in so many years. Don't tell me you don't even recognize your old friend? Hearing this, the Vermilion Bird seemed to have guessed something and asked, You are Butian? Looks like you haven't forgotten about me. The Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird was forced to retreat as its expression became increasingly ugly. The murderous aura around its body seemed to have solidified as it surged forward. Long Ao didn't think that Butian would suddenly come. Without a doubt, he had already guessed the reason. If he wasn't mistaken, then the reason why Butian suddenly came was because he saw a plum blossom. Indeed, such friends were not misplaced. Butian was definitely afraid that something would happen to him and personally came to help him. However, his intuition told Long Ao that Big Brother Boo and Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird definitely knew each other. Could it be the two of them? As if he had guessed something, Longao still didn't believe his own guess. If it was true, then it would be too inconceivable. He sighed deeply. Butian said helplessly, "Scarlet Flame, I have let you down in the past. Brother Long is my friend. Let him go first and we will slowly settle our matters in the future. How about it?" "No, he has devoured all the energy. My cultivation has no hope of breaking through to the Starry Sky Realm Lord in this lifetime. If I let him go, how can I face myself?" He was extremely shocked. Butian also never thought that Longao could really devour all the energy. He was very clear on what the energy in the lake meant. Even he could only cultivate and not devour it. How did Longao do it? However, in this situation, it wasn't suitable to ask this question. Let him go. Butian, in the past, in order to break through to the Starry Sky Realm Lord, you didn't hesitate to leave me. Now that you have returned, you want to take away my worries. Do you really think that you are invincible after becoming a Starry Sky Realm Lord? Do you think that I am easy to bully? Without giving Butian any chance to speak, Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird continued. Today, the two of you can forget about leaving the God-Beast realm. Scarlet Flame, you should be very clear on what it means to summon that person. Butian had already guessed what the other party wanted to do. His expression suddenly changed. As for Longao, he was in the clouds. Under normal circumstances, with Butian's strength, it would be easy for him to take him away. But now Butian seemed to be afraid of the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird. "Humph, you humiliated me in the past and now you are humiliating me again. Humph, I want to see how you are going to resist that person. Brother Long, leave quickly. It's too late." Longao had already sensed that the surrounding space had been sealed. The Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird seemed to be summoning something. Without asking, he had already guessed that within the God-Beast realm, there must be a Starry Sky Realm Lord Divine Beast. But for some reason, this powerful Starry Sky Realm Lord Divine Beast had been sealed. As for the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird, it must have a way to break the seal and release this Starry Sky Realm Lord Divine Beast. But from Butian's words, it seemed that even with his strength, he wasn't a match for this Starry Sky Realm Lord Divine Beast. "Leave? Want to leave?" The Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird sneered and directly opened a huge black vortex in midair. Then, a dragon's roar resounded through the heavens and earth, enveloping the entire God-Beast realm. A huge dragon's aura instantly suppressed Longao's body, directly locking him in place. If Longao was alone, he wouldn't be able to break the lock at all. In the end, he would be directly killed. But now, with Butian's help, he quickly broke the lock. No matter what, Butian was still a Starry Sky Realm Lord. His strength was obvious. "Butian, since you are here, why don't you stay and reminisce about the past?" An old voice resounded. Then, an old man appeared beside the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird. "Lord." "Humph, Lord? If you really treated me as a lord, you wouldn't have been sealed for so many years. Scarlet Flame, I will settle this with you later." There wasn't the slightest surprise or worry because the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird had already guessed the result when she released the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon. In the past, the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon had been jointly suppressed by several Starry Sky Realm Lord. After so many years of cultivation, her strength was already enough to break the seal, but she didn't do so. Now that she had released the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon, there was no doubt that the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon wouldn't leave the matter at that. However, in order to kill Butian and Longao, the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird seemed to have thrown caution to the wind. She didn't even care about her own life and had the mentality of perishing together with them. Because she knew that with her strength, she wasn't Butian's opponent. She could only watch the two of them leave. Chapter 2044. Butian, long time no see. How have you been? Bution didn't continue to leave. He turned around and said with a smile, "Annihilation Dragon, you only have yourself to blame for being sealed by us. You can't blame anyone else." "Ha ha ha ha, ha 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 ha," laughing crazily, Annihilation Dragon said coldly, "You humans are shameless. 5 against 1. If it was 1-on-1, which one of you would be my opponent?" Annihilation Dragon didn't say anything. If it wasn't for Bution and the other 4 joining forces, no one would be his opponent. Back then, Annihilation Dragon came out of nowhere and slaughtered everywhere. With no other choice, Bution and the other 4 Universal Sector Lords joined forces to seal him. After so many years, the seal had already begun to loosen. If it was the original seal, it wouldn't have been broken by Vermilion Bird alone. The winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. You lost back then. You're right. I lost back then, no matter what the reason was. Annihilation Dragon looked at Vermilion Bird beside him, and then at the 2 in front of him. Silence. Annihilation Dragon chose to remain silent. The other 3 also chose to remain silent. Taking advantage of the silence, Bution used his spiritual sense to tell Longao what had happened that year. So that's how it was. Back then, Bution and Vermilion Bird fell in love at first sight. Although the 2 had different identities, they still walked together regardless of the world's opinion. They could have lived happily ever after, but because Bution left without saying goodbye, this relationship was completely broken. The reason Bution left was simple. He had a way to become a Universal Sector Lord. Under the temptation of becoming a Universal Sector Lord, Bution even abandoned Vermilion Bird. If it was now, would Bution still do this? He really didn't know. When Bution became a Universal Sector Lord, Annihilation Dragon suddenly had an accident and killed everywhere. In the end, Bution joined forces with the other 4 Universal Sector Lords and forcefully sealed Annihilation Dragon. This was a big problem. Longao knew very well how strong Annihilation Dragon was. At the very least, Bution shouldn't be a match for Annihilation Dragon. Gotcha. There was a loud sound. Annihilation, no. It turned out that Devastator Mad Dragon had one hand on Vermilion Bird's throat. As long as Devastator Mad Dragon wanted to, he could easily destroy Vermilion Bird at any time. The powerful Vermilion Bird was now like a helpless little girl. She looked very pitiful. This was what it meant to have only oneself to blame. If it weren't for Big Brother Boo, Longao would have been more than happy to see the world-annihilating Mad Dragon kill the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird. But now, no matter what, Big Brother Boo seemed to like the Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird a lot. Thus, Longao decided to take the Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird away no matter what. Bution, are you scared? There's no need to drag Vermilion Bird into the grudge between us men. Looks like you still can't let go of this bitch. But I'll give you a chance. As long as you can defeat me, I'll let all of you leave. Otherwise, all of you will die here. Alright. Throwing the Scarlet Vermilion Bird out, the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon made the first move. In the blink of an eye, the 2 Starry Sky Realm Lords were engaged in a fierce battle. Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird, why are you doing this? Longao knew very well why the Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird suddenly summoned the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon. Women were like this. The more they loved someone, the deeper their hatred. Otherwise, the Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird wouldn't have done this. Whether it was right or wrong, it was hard to say. Longao, you should leave. After experiencing a moment of life and death, the Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird seemed to have changed into a different person. She was filled with despair and despair. Could he really leave? Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird, since you like Big Brother Boo, you should leave with him. The 2 of you missed each other in the past. Do you want to miss each other again? Can we still be together? What a joke. Back then, he left so decisively. Do you think I would still believe him? Humans are not plants. How can they be emotionless? How can they not make mistakes? Scarlet Flame's vermilion bird, I can say with certainty that Big Brother Boo has never let go of you. When the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon appeared, Big Brother Boo and I had the chance to leave. Do you know why Big Brother Boo decided to stay? Me? The Scarlet Flame's vermilion bird didn't believe it. Since Butian had chosen to leave that year, he would do the same today. However, as a territory ancestor, the Scarlet Flame's vermilion bird soon found that something was wrong. With Butian's competence, even if he wasn't the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon's opponent, it was just a matter of minutes for him to take the other away. Could it be that Butian didn't leave because of him? Don't you understand Big Brother Boo's feelings? Just as Longao finished talking, Butian was defeated by the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon. If it weren't for his high cultivation base, he would have been killed by the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon. What should they do? Longao had no way of interfering in the battle between Starry Sky Realm Lords. The difference in cultivation level was too great, it was simply an insurmountable chasm. Longao was very clear that as long as he stepped into the range of the battle, he wouldn't even have to wait for him to make a move. Big Brother Butian couldn't resist anymore. If this continued, Big Brother Butian would be killed by the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon. Just as Longao was about to take action, the Scarlet Flame's vermilion bird's primordial spirit suddenly burst out an earth-shattering power. The primordial spirit exploded. Longao was completely stunned. He had never thought that the Scarlet Flame's vermilion bird would choose to explode her primordial spirit. However, the Scarlet Flame's vermilion bird's cultivation base had reached the peak of Territory Ancestor Realm. She was only one step away from becoming the Territory Lord of the Starry Sky. Once such a person chose to explode herself, not to mention the Territory Ancestors of the Starry Sky, even the Territory Lords of the Starry Sky wouldn't dare to confront her directly. Scarlet Flames, you. Butian didn't say anything. His eyes were red. He knew why the Scarlet Flame's vermilion bird had done this. He had missed it once. Was he going to miss it again? Brother Long, let's go. Before Longao could react, he was pushed away by a terrifying force. In just a blink of an eye, they were already 1,000 meters away. Longao was confident that even if the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon disturbed the space around, he could enter the Dragon's seal space at any time. Big Brother Boo, Longao kept his calm. Not only the Scarlet Flame's vermilion bird, but Butian had also started to explode his primordial spirit. A Territory Lord of the Starry Sky and a peak of Territory Ancestor Realm. Even the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon didn't dare to confront them directly. This kind of explosion could kill him. Right when the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon was about to run away, the two of them had used the power of exploding their primordial spirits to trap the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon. Chapter 2045. Scarlet Flame, I'm sorry. Sorry your sister, do you regret it? I already missed a chance, I won't miss it again. They didn't continue because Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird and Butian already knew that while they chose to forgive each other, they also chose to die together. Whether it was Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird or Butian, they both knew that even if they joined forces, they wouldn't be a match for the world-destroying Mad Dragon. Rather than being killed by the world-destroying Mad Dragon, they would rather die together and die together with the world-destroying Mad Dragon. There was another reason. Butian chose to self-destruct to create an opportunity for Longao because if he didn't do so, all three of them would die here. Boom boom. The self-destruction of the primordial spirits had already begun. Although Longao was unwilling, things had already come to this, and there was only one path left. Longao turned around and left. With the help of spatial teleportation, he left the God-Beast plane at the fastest speed. A Starry Sky Realm Lord and a Peak Starry Sky Realm Ancestor, the self-destruction of their primordial spirits completely destroyed the entire God-Beast realm. If other people knew that another realm was destroyed because of Longao, who knew what they would do? However, no one would know what happened today. Seeing the God-Beast realm disappear in an instant, Longao was a little moved. If he had known, he wouldn't have come no matter what. Big Brother Boo had sacrificed himself for nothing. The only gratifying thing was that Big Brother Boo and Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird had forgiven each other. Although they couldn't live together, they could die together. "Kid, I'm going to kill you." Just as Longao was about to turn and leave, a dragon's roar resounded. Then, a 100-meter-long black dragon appeared. It was the world-destroying Mad Dragon. Not dead? The world-destroying Mad Dragon really wasn't dead? Longao was a little dumbfounded, because he never thought that Boo-Tian and Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird's self-destruction of their primordial spirits wouldn't succeed in killing the world-destroying Mad Dragon. It was really unbelievable. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. The world-destroying Mad Dragon had to use a killing move to barely escape. Even so, the destructive power of Boo-Tian and Vermilion Bird's self-destruction was too terrifying. Even the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon was seriously injured. Longao, who was preparing to enter the dragon's seal space, suddenly sensed the chaotic aura of the world-destroying Mad Dragon and understood what had happened. The world-destroying Mad Dragon was seriously injured. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. "I want to avenge Big Brother Boo, go all out." If it had been the world-destroying Mad Dragon at its peak, Longao would not have dared to casually attack it. But now, the situation was completely different. With the Samsara sword in hand, Longao did not retreat. Instead, he shot toward the destructive Mad Dragon. "You are courting death." The World Annihilation Berserk Dragon was enraged. Being ignored by the other party was simply a great humiliation. Spitting out a mouthful of fresh blood, the apocalyptic Berserk Dragon's injuries were severe to the extreme. However, it was still unwilling to give up on killing Longao. Transforming into a human was because the consumption of energy for the main body was too great. With the current situation of the World Annihilation Mad Dragon, it could not bear it at all. In the blink of an eye, the two had already engaged in a fierce battle. The Starry Sky Realm Lord was indeed the Starry Sky Realm Lord. Even if the world-destroying Mad Dragon was seriously injured, it would not be an easy task for Longao to kill it. With no other choice, Longao could only use the Starry Sky Soul Slave Army. All the remaining Starry Sky Soul Slaves swarmed out, like moths to a flame, madly attacking the world-destroying Mad Dragon. Even if the world-destroying Mad Dragon was powerful, it could not kill the Starry Sky Soul Slaves in one move. Tens of thousands of Starry Sky Soul Slaves madly attacked. If the world-destroying Mad Dragon was at its peak, of course, it would not be afraid of tens of thousands of Starry Sky Soul Slaves. But now, the situation was completely different. Under the continuous attacks, the world-destroying Mad Dragon's injuries became more and more serious. Longao had decided that after killing the world-destroying Mad Dragon, he must refine it into a corpse slave. At that time, the Universe Realm Lord would join forces with the world-destroying Mad Dragon. With one man and one dragon working together, who could be his opponent? Longao stood aside and watched. The world-destroying Mad Dragon's strength was too strong. Many Starry Sky cultivators gradually appeared in the surroundings. If his whereabouts or this matter was discovered, the consequences would be very serious. Even if he could kill the world-destroying Mad Dragon, he was afraid that trouble would continue to come, wave after wave. At that time, he would be dead for sure. Thousands of Starry Sky Soul Slaves began to seal off the surroundings. No matter who it was, no one was allowed to step in. Those who barged in would be killed without mercy. In fact, Longao thought too much. Many people could sense the aura of the world-destroying mad dragon. Without a doubt, many people were very afraid of the battle between the Starry Sky Realm Lords. Unless there was water in their heads or people who wanted to see what was going on, no one dared to step in. What if the fish in the moat were implicated? No one was willing to die, let alone in such a way. Longao personally went into battle. The longer the battle dragged on, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. The best way was to kill the world-destroying mad dragon as quickly as possible. The world-destroying mad dragon's injuries were getting more and more serious. In the end, it spurted out a mouthful of blood and fell down. The opportunity had come. Longao strode to the side of the world-destroying mad dragon. Surrounded by Starry Sky soul slaves, no one could see what was going on. "Kid, even if I die, I will drag you down with me." "With just you?" Of course, Longao wouldn't let the world-destroying mad dragon self-destruct. He had already locked onto the other party and punched. The world-destroying mad dragon died. In the end, the world-destroying mad dragon was too arrogant. Originally, it was already seriously injured, and hiding to recuperate was the best choice to take revenge in the future. However, the world-destroying mad dragon appeared at this time. As soon as the world-destroying mad dragon died, Longao sent its body and primordial spirit into the dragon seal space. However, Long Fu had to refine 2 Starry Sky corpse slaves at the same time. He believed that it would take more time. Retreat. Longao didn't stay any longer and disappeared with the many Starry Sky soul slaves. Everyone in the surroundings was still in shock and didn't know what had happened. A battle between Starry Sky Realm Masters was a rare event that happened once in 10,000 years. However, no one saw it. Some unknown Starry Sky cultivators had stopped them, and some of them had almost died. Unknowingly, news of what had happened spread. However, no one knew who had done it, so it was quickly forgotten. After everyone left, Longao let out a long sigh of relief. He could kill the world-destroying mad dragon only because Big Brother Boo and the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird self-destructed their primordial spirit. If the two of them had self-destructed their primordial spirits, not to mention killing the world-destroying mad dragon, he didn't even know if he could leave the God-Beast plane alive. After leaving this place, Longao quickly headed towards the southeast and soon disappeared into the vast starry sky. Chapter 2046. Brother Long, it must have been you who caused the previous incident, right? Longao didn't hide much from Yi Mei. She nodded and said, "In order to save me, Big Brother Boo has already self-destructed his primordial spirit." He sighed deeply. Yi Mei helplessly said, "Brother Long, you don't need to be sad. Although Master Bu Tian did it to save you, according to my guess, Master Bu Tian did it to atone for his sins. This matter is over." Longao entered the dragon seal space after exchanging a few simple words with Ichabod Plum. "Long Fu, how long will it take to refine 2 Astral Sector Lord Corpse slaves?" Longao was very clear in his heart that just refining the corpse of the Universe Realm Master would take an unknown amount of time. Now that the world-destroying Mad Dragon was added, he believed that the time needed would at least double. "Master, it's almost impossible to refine both the Qianquan Realm Lord and the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon at the same time." Longao had already guessed it. "However, Master, if the refinement is successful, 1 human and 1 dragon corpse slave will work together. Among the Starry Sky Realm Lords, no one will be a match for them." Thinking of this, Longao was pleasantly surprised. If he could successfully refine them, he would be able to run amok in the vast starry sky with the help of the 2 Starry Sky Corpse slave. Longao did not conceal the news of Butian's death. However, he didn't appear personally. Instead, he spread the news in secret. The news of Butian and the world annihilation mad dragon destroying each other instantly spread throughout the entire realm. Those who received the news were all shocked, because many people were very clear on what the world annihilation mad dragon meant. Hongqi, Jiangchong, Elder Black, and Elder White were extremely depressed. Sir Butian's death made them unable to answer to the Empire. What should he do about this? Left with no choice, the four of them could only wait and see what the heaven-devouring Empire would do next. It took less than 3 days. The heaven-devouring Empire had already sent a space sector lord over. His reputation and strength were far above Butian. It was none other than the legendary Jin Xing. Flourishing Realm Lord, flourishing Golden Realm Lord, swept through the realms and eventually submitted to the heaven-devouring Empire. Jin Xing's and Butian's situations were very different. Butian was only a consecrator in the heaven-devouring Empire. Strictly speaking, he wasn't considered a member of the heaven-devouring Empire. As for Jin Xing, he was from the heaven-devouring Empire and wasn't a consecrator. Jin Xing's arrival shook the entire world. Longao also received the news, and his expression was quite serious because Jin Xing would not be courteous at all. Things turned out as expected. As soon as Realm Lord Jin Xing descended, he immediately started searching for Longao's traces. The falling cloud plane was a mid-level plane. Longao's body descended, causing everyone to be shocked. Was Longao really not afraid of death? Jin Xing was a middle-aged man with a face full of beard. He looked extremely sloppy, and Jin Xing was a famous wine cabinet. He never left his wine bottle. Are you Longao? That's right. Are you Jin Xing? Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. All of a sudden Jin Xing burst out laughing maniacally. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would have found it hard to believe that a mere starry sky ruler could go against the heaven and earth sect. Even Brother Bu had died here. No one would link Butian's death to Longao. Longao chuckled without replying. In order to prevent Longao from entering the starry sky legendary weapon, Old Master Qian Kuan and the others made use of the weapon to disrupt the vibrations in the surrounding space. This way, even if Longao had 3 heads and 6 arms, he would never be able to leave this place. There was no way he could escape. But Longao was nonchalant. Jin Xing, you shouldn't have come. Why? Jin Xing asked curiously. He seemed to be quite interested in Longao. He could not understand how a mere level 8 Longao could destroy the heaven and earth realm. Could it be that Longao had some sort of backing? Jin Xing, do you think you can make it back this time? Instantly, everyone understood what Longao meant. He was practically throwing his life away. Jin Xing was the starry sky world ruler after all. Even Butian back then might not have been a match for Jin Xing, let alone a mere starry sky ruler. Shameless boasting. Jin Xing did not strike out. Instead, he asked with interest, Longao, how about we make a bet? Let's see if you or I will die. How about that? All right. Longao took a step forward, and his entire person disappeared without a trace. Looking at the situation, other than Jin Xing, the other 6 territory ancestors and Fang Xia were dumbfounded. How in the world did Longao do that? Based on their guesses, as long as they could disrupt the vibrations in the surrounding space, Longao would not be able to enter the space legendary weapon. But what was the result? What in the world was going on? That's not Longao's real body. I didn't expect that Longao has a clone. Seems like this man isn't simple. Suddenly, everyone understood why Longao wasn't disturbed by the space and could enter the space legendary weapon smoothly. It turned out that it wasn't Longao's real body but his clone. It seemed like Longao was very careful. My lord, what should we do? Jin Xing thought for a while and said coldly, the 3rd prince has been refined into a puppet. His Majesty is furious. If we can't deal with Longao, not only me, but all of you will die. especially ancestor heaven and earth and Situ he. The 6 of them sighed deeply because they had guessed the result. The third prince had been refined into a puppet by Longao. It would be strange if the Empire wasn't enraged. If it were someone else, Jin Xing didn't need to come here personally. Any one of the people here could deal with him easily. However, Longao was an anomaly. Even the 6 territory ancestors couldn't deal with him. In the end, they needed Realm Lord Jin Xing to come here personally. Regardless of whether they could kill Longao or not, the Empire and Jin Xing had lost their faces. However, as it had come to this, they could only hope that they could kill Longao smoothly. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a matter of face but their lives. You don't have confidence? Looking at their faces, Jin Xing felt a headache. 6 territory ancestors of the Starry Sky and Feng Xia couldn't deal with Longao. If people knew about this, would they believe it? Master Jin Xing, don't underestimate Longao. He has a lot of secrets. Jin Xing didn't put Longao in his eyes at all. It was just a joke. If he was afraid of a small Starry Sky domain lord, he might as well choose to commit suicide. With a cold snort, Jin Xing said with dissatisfaction, "Don't underestimate others. Longao is just lucky. I want to see how great he is." Chapter 2047. The matter of Longao destroying the universe plane was not over yet. Not only that, many people formed their own crusade alliance and prepared to crusade against Longao. Destroying the plane, everyone had the right to kill him. Sky Martial Plane. Ever since Longao left, the entire Sky Martial continent had undergone earth-shattering changes. The original 10 Directions tripod, only Heaven and Earth sect and Dragon sect were left, but the 2 superpowers had chosen to retreat. After the battles, a new 10 Directions tripod appeared, but no one in the 9 continents dared to touch it. The reason was simple. As long as one was from the Sky Martial continent, they all knew what the 9 continents continent meant. This was the hometown of the Master Longao, who created Dragon sect. Whoever dared to be impudent here was not giving face to Dragon sect. In the current Sky Martial continent, other than Divine Mathematician and Heaven and Earth sect, no one dared to provoke Dragon sect. Massacre Abyss. Yu-In, Aoshue, and Murong Yenner sat together quietly, thinking about Longao. As for Aoshue's stomach, there was still no movement, and no one knew when the child would be born. But according to Xiling, the longer the child was in the stomach, the better it was for the child, because the child had already started to cultivate in the stomach, and according to his calculations, the child's cultivation had already broken through to the divine realm. What kind of concept was that? Sister Aoshue, you must take care of your body. Even if you don't think for yourself, you must think for me. Ever since Longao left, Aoshue's body became worse and worse. Yu-In was very clear that Aoshue missed Longao, but what could she do? She had already tried before, but she was unable to break the seal and leave. Now, she could only wait for Longao to return. Forcing a smile, Aoshue nodded and said, "Sister, don't worry, I will take good care of myself." Yen-Er thought for a moment and said, "Sisters, why don't the 3 of us go find Divine Mathematician and ask him to break the seal, and we leave Sky Martial Plane to find Brother Long, what do you think?" "Good idea." "No." Yu-Yin's expression instantly turned cold, scaring Aoshue and Yen-Er into sticking out their tongues. The 2 girls were usually very afraid of Yu-In. No matter what, Brother Long loved Yu-In the most, and he also knew what Yu-In had done for Brother Long. How many people could do it? The 2 women admired Yu-In very much and respected Yu-In very much. When Big Brother Long left, he told us again and again not to leave the plane casually. Didn't you hear him? I heard you. Yu-In knew very well how dangerous the vast starry sky outside was. Perhaps cultivators in the starry sky were the strongest existences on the martial heaven continent, but in the vast starry sky, they were nothing. He believed that even starry sky region kings, starry sky region emperors, and even starry sky territory ancestors could be found everywhere. What if the three of them left the plane and encountered some danger in the vast starry sky? What should they do then? Don't mention this again. Yen-er and Aoshua nodded. The current dragon sect had more than 10 starry sky territory ancestors. Unless the godly mathematician took action, 5 of them could threaten the safety of Dragon Sect. With Dragon Sect's current strength, they were the strongest plane even in the vast starry sky, let alone the martial heaven continent. Outer Sea. Within the Crystal Palace. Father, ever since Longao stepped into the starry sky, he hasn't been idle. First, he went against the Qianquan sect, then he killed the third prince, Shinfeng. Not only that, even Jin Xing seemed to have taken action. Nodding, the godly mathematician already knew about this. Longao's variables are too great. Even I am unable to calculate this child's fate. Yigudu was shocked. He rarely saw his father evaluate someone in such a manner. Father, what if we didn't help Longao? Yigudu knew what the heaven-devouring empire meant. Not to mention Longao, even the other starry sky empire wouldn't dare to offend the heaven-devouring empire. Yigudu was depressed. Longao was too arrogant. He had just stepped into the starry sky and offended the heaven-devouring empire. He even killed the third prince of the heaven-devouring empire. Now that Realm Lord Jinxing was here, even if Longao had 3 heads and 6 arms, he wouldn't be able to stop Realm Lord Jinxing. The godly mathematician shook his head and said, I've already made an agreement with that person. From now on, I won't interfere in Longao's matters. Otherwise, it won't be good if it causes displeasure between us. Father, after so many years, you still haven't found him. Could there be an accident? At this point, Master God Diviner's expression flickered grimly. Everyone's been looking for him for years, but no one's found him. Something must have happened. I just hope it's not what I think it is. Otherwise, I'll be in big trouble. Yigudu understood his father's worries. Gudu, your cultivation base has recovered. It's easy for you to break through to the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm. Now you should enter the Starry Sky Secret Territory. I believe you can break through to the Starry Sky Territory Lord Realm in less than a year. He was overjoyed. Yigudu knew how big the gap between the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm and the Starry Sky Territory Lord Realm was. After waiting for more than 10,000 years, Yigudu couldn't wait anymore. However, he still asked, Father, what about Long Batian and Tian Dao? Yigudu knew that his father wouldn't give the inheritance to the two of them. Strictly speaking, both Tian Dao and Long Batian were his father's dogs. The two of them are still useful. In the future, they will be your protectors. It will be difficult for you to do anything with just your strength. Whether it is Long Batian or Tian Dao, I will seal their bloodlines later. With their bloodlines sealed, they could die whenever Yigudu wanted them to. Everything was under the Oracle's control. The pitiful thing was that Tian Dao and Long Batian were still in the dark. They were still trying to obtain opportunities in the Starry Sky Secret Realm. If the two of them knew about this, no one knew what they would think. It didn't matter if they could come out alive or not. From now on, their lives didn't belong to them anymore. They belonged to Yigudu. Hearing his father, Yigudu smiled. Just like what his father had said, his strength alone was too weak. If he could have the help of the two dogs, everything would be different. Father, are you going to let Yigudu and Tian Dao break through to the Starry Sky Territory Lord Realm? As long as he could seal their bloodlines, then no matter what level their strength rose to, it would not affect him in the slightest. In Yigudu's view, of course, he hoped that the stronger the two of them were, the more help they would be to him. 1 year later, They will follow you to the starry sky territory Lord realm. At that time, you can take them to the vast starry sky to train. Chapter 2048. Yi Dugu entered the secret realm of starry sky. From the beginning to the end, Tian Dao and Long Batian did not know that the two of them had been schemed against. After all, they were just pawns of the marvelous mathematician. Longao still stayed in the falling cloud plain. Since Jin Xing wanted to kill him, he didn't need to be polite. If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. If people offend me, I'll pay them back double. Longao felt a little helpless. Although he had broken through to the Starry Sky Domain Lord from a level 9 Starry Sky Cultivator, it was still impossible for him to deal with everyone. The most important thing now was to wait for the world-destroying Mad Dragon and the Universe Domain Lord to be refined into corpse slaves. At that time, not to mention the 6 Starry Sky Domain ancestors and Feng Xia, even Jin Xing wouldn't be a threat. However, it was difficult to refine 2 corpse slaves. Once the 2 corpse slaves were refined successfully, it would be a piece of cake for them to run amok in the vast starry sky. When Jin Xing arrived, everyone thought that Longao would die for sure. But what was the result? Not to mention dealing with Longao, they couldn't even see the shadow of Longao. Was Longao really that powerful? The strongest expert of the so-called Subjugation Alliance was a Starry Sky Domain Lord. There were about 1,000 of them, and they were looking for Longao everywhere. They seemed to be a righteous army. In the beginning, Longao didn't want to. However, this so-called Subjugation Alliance was getting more and more arrogant. They even threatened to kill Longao within a month. The leader of the Subjugation Alliance, the so-called Starry Sky Domain Lord, was called Yi Qian. It was difficult for the Subjugation Alliance to find Longao. However, it was easy for Longao to find the Subjugation Alliance. "You're the leader of the Subjugation Alliance, Yi Qian?" Seeing Longao suddenly appear in front of them, everyone was shocked. Before they saw him, they were clamoring to find Longao and kill him. However, when they saw him, their faces turned ugly as if they had seen the god of plague. They just wanted to be famous. The reason was simple. Longao had destroyed the Qinkuan Plain and killed the third prince, Shinfeng. He was already famous in the world. If they could kill Longao, not only would they become famous, they could even take credit for it. It was the best of both worlds. Thinking of this, Yi Qian sneered and said, "That's right. Longao, since you dared to destroy the Qinkuan Plain, we're here to represent justice." "Justice, my ass. You dare to scold me? So what if I scold you?" Longao found it funny. He couldn't figure out what gave these people such courage. Since he wasn't even afraid of the heaven-devouring empire, why would he be afraid of thousands of people? It seemed like water had entered their brains. With a face full of disgust, Longao said with disgust, "I am a person who always takes revenge. Since you want to kill me, I will give you a chance. Remember, you only have one chance." The more Lin Ju acted like this, the more uncertain everyone was. Thinking that Lin Ju wasn't even afraid of the Starry Sky Boundary Lord, everyone started to retreat. Fame and benefits were tempting, but compared to their lives, it wasn't enough. Everyone started to retreat. You don't dare? You hypocritically formed the so-called Crusade Alliance, but it turns out to be a bunch of mobs. Living in the vast starry sky is simply a waste of air. Why don't I send you into the cycle of reincarnation? I hope you can be a good person in your next life. Don't waste your life like now. Contempt. It was a blatant disdain. Brothers, it's either he dies or we die. Kill. Everyone knew that this battle was unavoidable. If Longao was really strong, they wouldn't be able to escape even if they wanted to. In that case, everyone rushed towards Longao. But in the next second before Longao could move, more than 8,000 starry sky soul slaves appeared and surrounded the thousands of people. In order to kill the world-destroying berserk dragon, they had lost more than 2,000 starry sky soul slaves. But to Longao it was totally worth it. A world-destroying berserk dragon's corpse slave was enough to wipe out all the starry sky boundary lords. Together with the universe boundary lord's corpse slave, they were almost invincible. 1 against 8, the thousands of people were like lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Longao isolated Yi Qian and said with a smile, "Yi Qian, you formed this alliance to kill me and claim credit from the heaven-devouring empire. Now I will give you a chance. As long as you defeat me, you can bring my corpse back to the heaven-devouring empire. How about it?" Yi Qian was very worried. Even though he was a Starry Sky Domain Emperor and his opponent was only a Starry Sky Domain Lord, there were too many legends about Longao. If Longao was really as powerful as the legends said, wouldn't he be doomed? Thinking of this, Yi Qian suddenly laughed and said, "Longao, there is no enmity between you and me, so why do we have to fight to the death? As long as you are willing to be magnanimous this time, then I can guarantee that the Crusade Alliance will immediately disband, and from then on, I will no longer be your enemy. How about it?" The Subjugation Alliance was just a bluff. They just wanted to show off their strength and see if they could kill Longao and get benefits from it. When they really met Longao, everyone, including Yi Qian, felt a little regretful. They could have provoked anyone, but they had to provoke Longao. A murderous god like him dared to destroy a plane, let alone them. Before Longao could reply, there were already screams coming from the side. Yi Qian was very clear in his heart that every scream meant that one of his people had fallen. In just a few seconds, more than 20 people had already fallen. What kind of concept was this? At this rate, it wouldn't take more than 10 minutes for the alliance to be annihilated. At that time, he would have no chance to fight alone. Longao, of course, could guess what Yi Qian was thinking. He smiled and said, "Yi Qian, don't worry. I am a fair person. I will give you a chance now. As long as you can defeat me, you can leave. If you can't, I'm sorry, but you will have to report to King Yama." As he spoke, Longao used his finger as a sword and slashed out 2 strands of reincarnation sword chi. Since his cultivation had broken through to the Starry Sky Domain Lord realm, Longao could continuously use Shatter the Starry Sky and fuse it with reincarnation sword chi. Yi Qian, of course, had heard that Longao could shatter the sky. He was shocked and hurriedly dodged. Even so, the surrounding space began to shatter and cracks appeared in the sky, devouring Yi Qian crazily. Longao didn't have the confidence to defeat the Starry Sky Domain Lord, but he was confident in fighting the Starry Sky Domain Emperor, because the Starry Sky Domain Emperor only condensed the power of the Starry Sky Domain into the forbidden power of the Starry Sky Domain. Chapter 2049. Shattering the Starry Sky. Longao didn't give Yi Qian any chance to catch his breath as he continued to attack. Reincarnation sword chi shot out like lightning. It was the Reincarnation Lightning Strike. 36 reincarnation styles. The first style, Reincarnation 9 slashes. The second style, Reincarnation Chaotic Dance. The third style, Reincarnation Mad Dance. The fourth style, Reincarnation Rainbow. The fifth style, Reincarnation Meteor Explosion. The sixth style, Reincarnation Rain Strike. The seventh style, Reincarnation Point. And the eighth style, Reincarnation Lightning Strike. With the breakthrough in his cultivation, Longao could now release the ninth style. The ninth style, Reincarnation Imprisonment. Longao had never used the Reincarnation Imprisonment before. He could use this opportunity to try it out. With the help of the Reincarnation Lightning Strike and Reincarnation Imprisonment, he could kill cultivators of the same level or lower in a matter of minutes. However, it was unknown if he could kill enemies of a higher level. Reincarnation imprisonment. Using his finger as a sword, the reincarnation sword Qi shot out. Just as Yi Qian was about to leave, a shocking scene occurred. The surrounding space began to be imprisoned. This imprisonment was different from the space imprisonment. Strictly speaking, the reincarnation imprisonment was superior to the space imprisonment and the domain imprisonment. Or else, how could the reincarnation imprisonment kill enemies of a higher level? Unable to move, Yi Qian's expression changed again and again as he roared in horror, "Longao, there is no enmity between us. There is no need to make things like this. As long as you are willing to let me go, I am willing to go far away and never go against you again. How about it?" He was completely terrified. Although Yi Qian had guessed that even if his cultivation was superior to Longao's, it wouldn't be easy for Longao to kill him. After all, the other party was only a starry sky domain lord, a realm lower than him. However, Yi Qian had never expected that although Longao's cultivation was only a starry sky domain lord, his true strength could kill him instantly. It was simply unbelievable. He kept retreating but couldn't take a step back. Would Longao let Yi Qian go? Reincarnation imprisonment, imprisoning Yi Qian's body. Longao sneered and directly used the reincarnation lightning strike and released the starry sky shattering. "Longao, I won't let you go even if I become a ghost." Longao ignored him. Just like that, over 1,000 people, including Yi Qian, were all killed by Longao in less than 3 minutes. Longao did not hide this matter. When the news spread, it shook the entire world. Although many people knew that this so-called Crusade Alliance was not very powerful, it always represented justice. No matter how arrogant Longao was, he would never dare to go against the Crusade Alliance. And the result? Longao still resolutely killed over 1,000 people, not leaving a single one alive. With this deterrence, it would be difficult for anyone to form an alliance. Everyone knew that the heaven-devouring empire would not let Longao off for the sake of the third prince. There was no need for them to risk their lives. Since Realm Lord Jin Xing had already descended, he would naturally deal with Longao. Everyone only dared to curse. It was almost impossible for them to continue to form a crusade alliance. In front of his life, everything else was nonsense. Longao had already guessed this result, and it was exactly what he needed. Kill the chicken to warn the monkey. This time, Longao did not choose to fight Jin Xing head-on because Jin Xing's strength was obvious. Together with the 6 starry sky territory ancestors and Feng Xia, it would not benefit him at all. There were advances and retreat. Longao thought of all sorts of ways to deal with everyone. The best way and the only way was to refine 2 starry sky corps slaves. Even if there was only 1 starry sky corps slave, it could be used to deal with Jin Xing and the others. Falling Cloud World. After 7 days, they still could not find Longao's trace. Jin Xing and the others were extremely depressed because Jin Xing did not expect Longao's hiding skill to be so high. No wonder Butian and the others could not find Longao. Of course, Jin Xing was not afraid of facing Longao head-on. He could not wait for Longao to take action. However, he was afraid that Longao would hide and play hide-and-seek with him. In that case, it would be like looking for a needle in a haystack, not to mention a world. The longer the delay, the greater the pressure on Jin Xing. The third Prince Chen Feng had already been refined into a puppet, which was equivalent to being dead. His Majesty was furious, and Butian, who had been sent out before, had also fallen, which made him even angrier. If he was still unable to kill Longao, not to mention the Empire's blame, he himself would have no face left. He was very depressed. The 6 of them still found nothing. Ancestor Heaven and Earth said helplessly, "Longao's hiding skill is really top-notch. We have mobilized all the forces in the world, but we still can't find him. It's not a good idea to continue like this." The 6 of them were also very depressed. As time went by, the people outside began to question. No matter what, Longao was just a starry sky territory master, but he could do whatever he wanted. If this matter was spread to the empire, it would not benefit anyone. He waved his hand to stop them from continuing. Jin Xing thought for a while and asked, "You still can't find out Longao's identity?" In the current situation, other than not being able to find out Longao's whereabouts, they couldn't even find out his identity. It was unbelievable. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it. The 6 of them shook their heads. Elder Hay said helplessly, "Sir, according to our guess, Longao might not be from this world. We have already investigated his identity, but we still couldn't find anything. It's as though he appeared out of thin air." Appeared out of thin air? Jin Xing lowered his head and fell into deep thought. "The 6 of you continue to investigate. This person is not simple. There's no way he doesn't have a background. He must be hiding his identity on purpose. Pass down his information and portrait. I don't believe that he jumped out of a rock." "Yes, sir." The 6 of them didn't hesitate. They immediately turned around and continued to investigate Longao's identity. However, the world was too big. Just the heaven-devouring empire alone had tens of thousands of worlds. With so many worlds, trying to find out the identity of someone who deliberately hid his identity was like picking a stone from an egg. Was it possible? Moreover, no one could be sure that Longao didn't belong to the heaven-devouring empire. If he came from another empire, would they be able to find out his identity? "Sia, I heard that you have a starry sky territory master's primordial spirit. I wonder if it's true." Fang Xia's heart skipped a beat. She knew that once the news of her possessing a starry sky territory master's primordial spirit spread out, trouble would come for her. The first to act would be Jin Xing. After all, the primordial spirit of a starry sky territory master was too tempting. Even a starry sky territory master couldn't resist it. Chapter 2050. Could she say no? Since Jin Xing asked, she believed that he already knew. If she said no, wouldn't she be digging her own grave? Fang Xia knew clearly that even if her teacher was strong, he wouldn't be Jin Xing's opponent. No matter what, her teacher was just a remnant of primordial spirit. Before Fang Xia could say anything, Ning Wuck's primordial spirit appeared. "You're Ning Wuck?" "Jin Xing, long time no see. How are you?" Jin Xing was astounded because he had never thought that Fang Xia's remnant primordial spirit was the legendary Ning Wuck. He was a little happy. Ning Wuck's power was undeniable. If he could swallow Ning Wuck's primordial spirit, it would be a great help to his cultivation. Ning Wuck seemed to know what Jin Xing was thinking. "You want to swallow me?" Jin Xing didn't say anything. However, silence meant that he admitted it. Ning Wuck smiled and said, "Jin Xing, why don't you try?" If Ning Wuck hadn't said that, Jin Xing would have tried. However, the calmer Ning Wuck was, the more Jin Xing didn't dare to do so. After all, the opponent's real power was there. No one knew what Ning Wuck had. What if he went for wool and came back shorn? He forced a smile. "Master Ning, you're joking. I didn't know it was you. Otherwise, why would I ask about it? Shameless." Fang Xia scolded him in her mind. After all, Jin Xing was afraid of her teacher's power. Otherwise, why would he be so humble? Why would he give up so easily? However, Fang Xia understood her teacher's situation. Once she took action, she could only run away. Her teacher wasn't Jin Xing's opponent at all. She had intimidated Jin Xing. "Don't tell anyone about me." Ning Wuck didn't want to say more. He disappeared instantly. Jin Xing didn't know what to do. He didn't dare to take the risk, but he didn't dare to give up either. In the end, Jin Xing decided to give up for now. He would see the situation first. Before he was sure, he wouldn't take action. Once something unexpected happened, he would be consigned to eternal damnation. The 6 territory ancestors of the starry sky had searched everywhere for Longao's identity. In the end, their efforts were in vain. Could it be that Longao really popped out from a crack in a rock? Jin Xing had fallen. No one knew who spread the news, but the news of Jin Xing's death spread like wildfire. For some reason, no one doubted him. The emissaries of ghosts and gods almost believed him. Everyone was shocked. Not only that, the person who killed Jin Xing was none other than Longao. Was this true? Everyone was in disbelief, because Jin Xing's strength was there for all to see. Not to mention a Longao, even if the Starry Sky Realm Lord personally came, he wouldn't beat Jin Xing's opponent. How did Longao do it? Although Butian wasn't killed by Longao, it was for Longao. If it wasn't for him, Butian wouldn't be in trouble. If Jin Xing was included, wouldn't 2 Universal Realm Lords have died for Longao? Shock. Unbelievable. Everyone wanted to know Longao's identity and background. However, what disappointed them was that Longao's identity was like a mystery that no one knew. The news of Jin Xing's death came from Longao. When the 6 territory ancestors of the Starry Sky heard the news, they were frightened and immediately returned to Falling Cloud Plain. On the way back, Forefather Heaven and Earth was stopped by Longao. Longao, you're finally willing to show up? Longao sneered and said, Forefather Heaven and Earth, even if I show up, what can you do to me? What a joke. I'm here this time to make a deal with you. A deal? Forefather Heaven and Earth was curious. He didn't know what kind of deal Longao wanted to make with him. No matter what, the grudge between them was there. What was there to make a deal with? Forefather Heaven and Earth, I wonder if you're interested in the corpse of the Universe Realm Lord? In an instant, Ancestor Qianquan understood what the other party wanted. His face changed and he said angrily, Longao, as long as you hand over the bones and Qianquan bag of our ancestor, the grudge between us will be written off. Our sect will also go to other realms and we will no longer be enemies with you. Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth had already recognized the truth. Even if Longao had the Chaos Stone Tablet, it was not something that he could snatch away. As for revealing this matter, no one would believe it. After all, the Chaos Stone Tablet had disappeared for countless of years. No matter who it was, no one had ever found it, let alone obtained it. Since he couldn't get the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet and kill Longao, he might as well take the opportunity to get the old ancestor's bones and Qianquan bag. That way, he could give the sect an explanation. Otherwise, he really didn't know how to explain to the ancestors that the Qianquan sect was destroyed in his hands. However, Longao smiled and said, You want to take back the Universe Realm Master's corpse and Universe bag just like that? Isn't it a little too simple? What do you want? Forefather Heaven and Earth knew that things weren't that simple. If Longao handed over the corpse and the Universe bag so easily, it would be strange. It seemed like Longao came prepared. Would he ask him to kill Jin Xing? As if he could guess what Forefather Heaven and Earth was thinking, Longao smiled and said, Don't worry, I won't let you kill Jin Xing. Even if I wanted to, you don't have the strength to do so. Jin Xing was the real Starry Sky Territory Master. With Forefather Heaven and Earth's competence, it was impossible for him to defeat Jin Xing. Not to mention him alone, even if the 6 territory ancestors joined hands, they couldn't defeat Jin Xing. This was the difference between a territory ancestor and a Starry Sky Territory Master. Then what do you want? As long as he didn't want to kill Jin Xing, everything else was easy. My condition is simple. As long as you help me kill the other 5 territory ancestors, including your good brother, Situ He, I promise you that I will return the Universe Realm Master's corpse and his universe bag to you. Otherwise, as Longao spoke till here, he did not continue speaking. However, the meaning behind his words was very clear. As long as Ancestor Qiankuan did not agree, he would destroy the corpse and the Qiankuan bag of the Universe Realm Lord. How could Ancestor Qiankuan not know about Longao's threat? How could he agree to this matter? Let's not talk about whether he could really kill the 5 people. Situ he was his good friend for many years. In order to help him, Situ he had been involved in this matter. If he attacked Situ he was he still a human? However, if he didn't help, what if Longao destroyed the corpse and the universe bag? Chapter 2051. Longao, don't push me too far. Push me too far? Longao laughed. Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth, I don't need to say more about the grudge between us. I believe you know it better than me. Please tell me, without any conditions, why should I give you the corpse of the Universe Realm Lord and his Qiankuan bag? What Longao said was the truth. Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth did not say anything. If it was him, he would not hand it over so easily. On one hand, it was the corpse of the old ancestor and his Qiankuan bag. On the other hand, it was his brother. How should he choose? He gritted his teeth. Everyone was selfish. Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth was no exception. After thinking about it, Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth decided to sacrifice his brother in exchange for the corpse and Qiankuan bag. I promise you, Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth, I'll wait for your good news. Remember, the first person to deal with is Situ he. Looking at the disappearing figure, Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth's face changed again. The next day, when the 6 of them found out that Jin Xing was not dead, they knew it was a lie. They did not continue to stay. Instead, they chose to continue searching for Longao's identity and traces. Brother Situ, I have something to tell you. He was curious. However, as a good brother for many years, Situ he did not have the slightest bit of vigilance. Even if he was beaten to death, he would not believe that this old brother of his would attack him for the corpse and Qiankuan bag. They came to a place. Old brother, what's going on? Poochie. Before Situ he could react, Ancestor Heaven and Earth's hands had already pierced into Situ he's body. With Ancestor Heaven and Earth's strength, Situ he had almost no strength to resist this sudden attack. However, Situ he did not resist. Heaven and Earth, what are you doing? Unbelievable. Situ he widened his eyes and stared at his old brother in disbelief. Even if he was beaten to death, he would not have thought that old Ancestor Heaven and Earth would attack him. I'm sorry. What's going on? Situ he knew clearly that old Ancestor Heaven and Earth would not attack him for no reason. What's going on? Situ he, you've been looking for me. You can take a rest. Seeing Longao suddenly appear, Situ he immediately understood what was going on. So it's for the Qiankuan Realm Lord's corpse and his Qiankuan pouch. Although Situ he already understood, he wasn't angry at all. He smiled miserably. Old brother, you're on your own now. Just like that, Situ he was killed by old Ancestor Heaven and Earth without any warning. Longao, you can make the blood oath now. Longao nodded. According to their agreement, as long as Ancestor Qiankuan was the first to kill Situ he would have to make a blood oath. After all, Ancestor Qiankuan did not trust Longao at all. Longao, make a blood oath here. As long as Ancestor of Heaven and Earth can kill the remaining 4 people, I will return his Qiankuan bag and bones. If I violate this oath, I will be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. A blood oath was the most terrifying oath. No matter who it was, even the Starry Sky Realm Lord wouldn't dare to make a blood oath casually. Let's go. Among the 6 of them, Ancestor Heaven and Earth was the strongest. It was just that Ancestor Heaven and Earth did not want to reveal his strength. No matter what, there was Bu Tian before, and now there was Jin Xing. If he was too strong, he would be the one to suffer. In a one-on-one fight, no one was a match for Ancestor of Heaven and Earth. Moreover, Ancestor of Heaven and Earth had Longao's help. Thus, killing the remaining 4 people became a piece of cake. After 10 days, the 5 territory ancestors were all killed. As for the 5 corpses, they were all destroyed. Except for Sidhu, his primordial spirit, the other 4 primordial spirits were all sent into the dragon seal space. Longao did not plan to refine a corpse slave or a soul slave. Instead, he planned to devour them directly. According to Long Fu, due to his physique, he would need even more power if he wanted to continue breaking through. Even if he devoured the primordial spirits of the 4 territory ancestors, it was still unknown whether he could break through to the Starry Sky Realm Emperor. Longao, fulfill your promise. Hand over the ancestor's corpse and Qianquan bag. Longao smiled and took out a very beautiful bag from his bosom, as well as a set of bones. This isn't the ancestor's corpse and Qianquan bag. Ancestor of Heaven and Earth's face changed when he saw what Longao took out. Was Longao going back on his word? It was almost impossible because Longao had taken a blood oath. If he broke the oath, wouldn't he be committing suicide? Longao smiled and said, Ancestor of Heaven and Earth, when I took the blood oath, I didn't say whose corpse I would hand over. Thus, I just gave you a corpse. As for the Qianquan bag, it's also a Qianquan bag. Did I break the oath? Ancestor of Heaven and Earth knew very well that what Longao said was right. His mistake was that he didn't hear it clearly when he took the blood oath. From the beginning to the end, he didn't expect that Longao would play tricks with him, especially when he took the blood oath. Ancestor of Heaven and Earth, take care of yourself. Before Ancestor of Heaven and Earth could react, Longao's figure had disappeared. He was enraged. He was suppressing his anger. It was as if he had been possessed by a ghost. He had chosen to believe Longao's words. He had killed his old brother for no reason. However, he hadn't obtained his ancestor's bones and Qianquan bag. He had suffered a double loss. What a despicable and shameless Longao! Ancestor of Heaven and Earth was completely enraged. He roared to the sky, Longao, I'll tear you to pieces. The news that Ancestor of Heaven and Earth had assassinated Sidhu, his group, began to spread out. Many people were astounded because they didn't believe that Ancestor of Heaven and Earth would kill Sidhu, his group, for no reason, unless he was out of his mind. Longao and Ancestor of Heaven and Earth had joined hands to get the ancestor's corpse and Qianquan bag. That was why they had assassinated 5 people. Many people began to believe it because Longao alone couldn't kill any of them, let alone the 5 territory ancestors. Longao couldn't even kill one of them, unless someone had helped Longao. After pondering for a while, Ancestor of Heaven and Earth was the most suspicious one. Among the 6 territory ancestors of the Starry Sky, only Ancestor of Heaven and Earth was fine. Thus, there was no doubt that Ancestor of Heaven and Earth would do that for the ancestor's corpse and Qianquan bag. Jin Xing also received the news. He immediately sent a message to Ancestor of Heaven and Earth. He asked directly, Heaven and Earth, is the rumor true? Jin Xing's face was dark. The murderous aura on his body was rolling and suppressing. It was the murderous aura of the Starry Sky Sector Master, which made Ancestor of Heaven and Earth breathless. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.